What an intro.
Hey, hey!
All right.
That was awesome.
I've got goosebumps with that music. Come on.
Yeah.
I want to go and watch the film now.
It's not the same though without it, is it? I mean, I think that's what we all expected. It's like, did the sequels? The sequels didn't do it, did they? At the start, that fanfare, did they not?
I don't think so.
Probably, I don't know.
No, I don't think they did.
It's funny though, isn't it? Does anyone else do this? So if you see a film come on TV, the second you hear that fanfare, now they did tons of different movies. The second you hear that fanfare, my head goes, Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is going to start, and it could be any film, but I think this is Star Wars. Yeah.
And I think what it is because didn't 20th Century Fox also put out the record album? And I think the album started that way too, and then it kicked right into you know what I mean? Yeah. It kicks right into it. So
I didn't know
when as a kid, I think I listened to that album over and over and over again. If you're playing it right from the start, it just goes right through. You know what I mean?
It's weird because John Williams didn't write it. It's nothing to do with Star Wars, but it's a huge part of Star Wars.
It's part of Star Wars, isn't it?
As soon as you hear it, yeah.
You do. Anyway, and even when you hear anything else you do, don't you? You hear that Star Wars intro. As soon as that bit finishes, no matter what film it is next, you'll always hear that Star Wars intro. Like,
just kicking right in, yeah.
But tonight we're going to talk about this movie right here.
Yeah, Revenge of the Jedi, or Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, I agree though with that sort of logic. When George Lucas decided, yes, it's revenge, and then went, no, it's return, because Jedis wouldn't use revenge. And I did like that. I thought that sticks with the fable of what he talks about.
It made sense when Revenge of the Sith came out as well, didn't it? Cause,
last we will have revenge.
Yeah. And that's the thing sometimes, I think that it's lost today that all, like, when I watched Return of the Jedi back this week, you understand how special the Jedi Knights were and how much of a weapon the lightsaber is. And Yoda says to him, you're the only one left if you don't rebuild this. And just makes you just cry, doesn't it? When you see
it. Did we all watch it then? Did we all watch Return of the Jedi this week?
Absolutely, we watched it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I have to go back and revisit it for sure.
I was definitely working and not watching it.
Is it your favorite? How many of you on here now then? Is it your favorite? It's my third of the original trilogy, to be honest. But in a way, we always do this thing like, what's your top number one, number two? But when it's the original trilogy, which one are you turning off? You're not, are you?
Yeah, you don't turn any of them off.
No.
Yeah.
The weird thing for me, Shabby, is they kind of, they kind of merge into one, almost.
Yeah.
When I think of the
100% agree.
I never really. I mean, don't get me wrong. It sounds silly because I do have a favourite. Empire is my absolute favourite of the original trilogies. But when I think about them, I can put any one of them on and just sit and watch it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the. I think.
Well,
the reason why I love Empire is it's one of them. I know we're talking about Jedi, but it's one of them films, and Jedi to a point the same, and Star Wars. All three of them sit me down for the full. At no point in any of the three movies do I go, I'll make a cuppa here. I'll just whip to the toilet here. They sit me down and keep me there for the full, and that's why I love them. Yeah.
And I was going to say, if you walk into the room, like here in the States around the holidays, I mean, not so much anymore, but when growing up, especially, and even like 10 years ago, during Thanksgiving and Christmas, they would play them back to back. There'd be a marathon during the day on one of the three stations, ABC, NBC, whatever, CBS, someone would get them and play them back to back. And if you walked in the room that had the TV on and Star Wars was playing, Return of the Jedi, whatever it is, you just immediately just sit down and before everything else goes away and you guys are all watching Star Wars all day. And then someone goes, we were gonna eat. Like, I wonder if that turkey's done, you know, like.
But I was just thinking that myself when Luke was saying about you can sit down and watch the whole thing and hold your attention. We're so familiar with it that if you come across it on the TV and it's halfway through it, you can just join in and
you just join in. Exactly.
You can hop in at any point and you know exactly where you are, what's going on, and it's all familiar.
While you're talking, Connor, what's this place right here?
No, okay, so I couldn't find a banner for Jedi, but this is
The ambassador.
the ambassador in Dublin. This was actually originally they built. This is right beside a maternity hospital, and they built it as a dance hall to raise funds back in the late 1700s, and for the hospital to raise funds for it. And over time, it became a music hall in the 1800s, and then I think it was the 1950s they converted it into a cinema. But this is where I went to see Return of the Jedi, and it was the only original trilogy I got to see in the cinema. And my uncle brought me a. It was just
Oh, look at
it
that.
was fascinating. So
Wow.
to have, I didn't see Empire till after Jedi, so I had only had Star Wars. But to go and actually see all your heroes on the big screen, and see all the ships flying overhead on round sound, and it was round sound back then, but it was just it was such a fresh way. So I found the original movie poster for the ambassador, but I couldn't find an image with the cinema with Jedi on it.
No.
Yeah. Look, see,
I searched online for the ABC. I found the cinema, and I found the cinema where it was at, but I couldn't. Yeah, that one, but I couldn't find the Return of the Jedi one. Tried to the death of me. Well, yeah, that's an old cinema. That was the ABC in Blackpool. And he got changed into a super club first. He got changed into the Syndicate nightclub, and now it's all knocked down. Now it's just a car park, so it's all gone.
Oh no.
So I used to have great memories of that place. You see some great films there.
I mean, to me, I don't know whether we saw Empire or not, but I just vivid. I know I remember it. Si's got a better memory about me about Return of the Jedi at the cinema and first seeing it, but I've just got vivid memories about Luke and speeder bikes and that kind. Can any of you remember? Yeah, Scott, I'll start with you. Can you remember your first experience with Return of the Jedi?
I can remember a lot of excitement at school talking about it. It's the first of the three films that I can remember the building excitement. I did see Empire at the cinema, but I don't think I knew it was coming, really. I think I was just taken. I was a bit too young. But Jedi, kids were talking about it at the playground. There was anticipation and excitement. And yes, I can remember we all went to the little cinema on the corner in Stafford. And I can remember going and sitting there and watching it and just coming out awestruck, really.
Yeah, awestruck.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I agree with that. Look at this one thing. It's the weakest.
Kick him out.
Is
Just
it?
kick him. Who's got the
Oh, I don't know that.
The weakest. Do you remember, Luke? Do you remember your earliest time, pal?
I do. I think I said it on a video not too long ago. Jedi was the first Star Wars film I saw. I mean, I'm too young to see the first one at the cinema. I was only one when Empire came out, which puts me at 4 when Jedi came out. So I didn't see any of them at the cinema. And if I remember rightly, the VHS tapes took quite a long time to come out after they'd been at the cinema. Now, so the first Star Wars movie I saw was Jedi, and I saw it in my cousin's bedroom. Now I think I was about 6, so that'll put it around 85, maybe a bit later, maybe 86. And he was a few years older than me, and for his birthday, he just got a portable TV, like a little colour portable TV in his bedroom. His mum and dad got him a VHS player with it, and a copy of Return of the Jedi. So we were like, right, that's it, sleepover. I'm stopping at your house tonight. Let's, we chucked covers down on his floor. We were like, right. Yeah, and we watched Jedi about 3 times back to back in his bedroom on his birthday. That was the first one.
We'd still do that at my age. I'm up to DTMs for sleepover.
Well, when you were a kid, though, there was nothing better, was there, than like chucking duvets on the floor and chucking your pillows on, and like because it looked like a sleepover then, didn't it? Our blankets are on the floor. We must be having a sleepover kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we just watched Jedi back to back all afternoon into the night. Speeder bike scene we rewound a million times. Brilliant. Yeah, that was the first movie I saw. I think I saw them backwards. I think I saw Empire after that, and then Star Wars. So yeah,
awesome. What about you, Des?
I think for me, I mean, I was 10 when Jedi came out. I think I said on one of Stu's videos, it's always been there. I can remember going to the cinema to watch. I mean, now it's a block of flats in where I am. It's always Star Wars has always been there for me, so I can't sort of pinpoint one or the other. But for me, Jedi is my favourite film. It's my favourite franchise, obviously, but it's my favourite film. It's like picking your children, which is your favourite kid.
a little bit, yeah.
But I'll tell you after this.
Yeah. So which one is it, Des?
But for me, because of the age I were and everything around it, the figures and everything like that. that's why it's always been my favourite film. Yeah, just love it all.
shout.
It's got everything.
What about you, Johnny boy?
Yeah, like my neighborhood, the parents would take turns, and I remember it was my friend Clay Hoyt was diagonally across the street. His father's turn to take us to the theaters, and he walked out when the Ewoks came on. He's like, "I've had it." You know? He goes, "You kids find me afterwards," and he left. And we
I
were all,
love the Ewoks.
we were like,
They're all right, aren't they?
we were all like, "How can he not like this? What's wrong with him? Your dad's an alien," you know, like. But yeah, I fortunately got to see all three of them in the theaters. I actually don't remember Star Wars, but Mom told me plenty of stories about taking us, because she took me about 20. She said she took me 23 times.
Whoa!
Star Wars. And I have a vague memory of one of the drive-in times, because we had a big green station wagon, and it had a floor that could come up, and the spare tire and all the parts were down there.
Yeah.
And she took all that stuff out, and we would hide one or two kids under the floor. And then when we got to the drive-in theater, she'd be like, "Yeah, there's only 4 of us," and they'd be like, "Okay, you let us through." And then when we parked and had the speakers all set up, we'd open the floor, and all these other kids would get out. Until the station.
So your mother's car was basically the Millennium Falcon. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what we all thought. We were like, "Let's go back to the Millennium Falcon." You know, like,
George Lucas was showing everyone around his mansion, and he went, "John's mum paid for this." Hi, Martin.
Hey, Martin.
So, what we're talking about, Martin, is our earliest memories of it. So, what's yours, DT? What's your earliest memory of Jedi?
I've Return of Jedi. I've been in hospital, and it was the weekend I was getting out, or the weekend Return of Jedi were coming out. And my uncle Keith, he came and discharged me from hospital. We went straight to it was an ABC that we had as well in Huddersfield. It's now a Sainsbury's. But yeah, it took me to see that. Loved it. I mean, I'm like Luke. I saw Jedi before I'd seen Empire and Star Wars. But yeah, we had finished, and I were all Star Wars'd up, and it took me to Boots, and he bought me a Star Wars figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Boots,
Star Wars figures in Boots.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, did here as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all got Star Wars figure on the day we went to see Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And also Star Wars stickers.
You couldn't go home without it. You had to. You were like, as soon as the movie's done, you're like, "Let's go to the store." You know? Like,
But in at the times we could, and your mum and dad's could, because these figures were $1. They were £1.50. They were nothing. They were never going to break your mum's purse buying them. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that added to the experience as well. I think I picked up Week Weight that day. I think that was the day I picked up Week Weight.
Yeah. It was one of those things where every time you went out, you could get yourself a figure. You know,
if you behave.
Yeah, if you behave. Yeah.
Well, yeah, a part of me still does it now. You know, if I see a film I enjoy, I've got to get that figure.
Yeah.
Figure out. Obviously, it's always been there with me. I don't know why.
Well, that's our generation. We'd go to the movies, and then the toys would be out. They'd be on shelves. There'd be lots of them, and you'd go and pick up a toy on the way home, or even a couple of days after it. And I suppose that's where we all get the love of the merch and the collecting from. It's which is gone, because I know for my kids, if I brought them to the cinema, they've no interest in or at least when they were small, I didn't have any interest in toys. That's kind of unique our generation. Because we watched the movie, and then we had the toys to go home and just lie on the floor in the living room and just recreate our favorite scenes.
Yeah.
I think that for me, it's a wonderful memory to have.
Yeah, it is. I think that, because I remember everything about the day. I know it was either a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I know for a fact we went on June the 7th. I know. It was funny because when I just saw that poster of yours, Connor, and it said June the 3rd it was released, so it must have been a month later, was it, in Dublin? Because I do know it was released over here in the May.
I couldn't. I am brutal when it comes to memory. I don't have I've terrible recall of some. I do remember my uncle bringing me. I remember because I was the eldest grandchild, so I used to stay a lot with my grandmother in my nana's house. My uncle still lived at home then, and he was kind of always like my bigger brother. And Kevin was my uncle, and he was a big movie buff. He got into films really early on. He was one of the first person I ever knew to have a VHS player, and we was able to go and rent the new God, look, that man used to try to get ready to go on the Saturday night. You down to the video library everywhere. You must have rented that movie 100 times for me. But it was Kevin that brought me, and it was such a to be going with my uncle. It was exciting. It was getting the bus into the city, going to the Ambassador. It was because the Ambassador, I think at the time, I think it held roughly around 1,000 people. So it was a big cinema. Like when you go in that little sort of dome building, you go down, it's a massive hall, and it was huge, big, huge screen. It was just the whole experience was exciting and just wonderful.
Yeah.
It is funny how you all remember the cinemas you saw it in. Do you know what I mean? Because now, I mean, there's so many multiplexes and this and that now, but when you come out of a movie, it's not as if, oh yeah, the cinema was awesome. But back then, every one of us is described where you went to see it, talked about the cinema, where it was, the town it was in, and even in the chat, they're saying the same thing. Martin, what's your earliest memory about Return of the Jedi?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to go the same way. It's I lived near a little town called Royston in Hertfordshire, and it had one of those really tiny cinemas. It had a balcony, but I mean, it wouldn't fit more than 150 people in, I don't think. And it had the red velvet seats that you folded down, those really old-fashioned seats. And my uncle came over to the house and picked me up and said he'd take me to the cinema, and we went to see Return of the Jedi. And I can't remember the whole of the film, but I can just remember a couple of moments that absolutely being mesmerised. The Battle of Endor. I mean, to this day, it's one of my favourite scenes in any film, let alone Star Wars. And the other scene would have to probably be the lightsaber duel with Luke and Vader. I mean, I was absolutely captivated throughout that film, and it's probably one of my earliest, because I was only 6 at the time, and one of my most cherished memories, I'd say, and it has to do with Return of the Jedi being that film, I think. It was a great day. I don't remember all of it like Si, and I certainly wasn't treated to any toys afterwards, but I certainly was treated some toys the following Christmas.
You've made up for it now, mine.
That's so funny when Kieran says, "Did they have that woman play the organ too?" You did it our side. Do you remember?
Yeah. We used to have that.
Yeah. And he'd turn around and go, "Up to you all."
He can do it. He's doing it. He does it great.
Did they ever come round with trays of ice cream? Like, over?
Yeah. Well done, DTM. Yeah, that's awesome. I saw Star Wars on a Sunday night. My mum went to bingo and got me the Yavin transfer set after we got home. Yeah, I think, well, besides Martin, obviously, because his mum and dad didn't like him, but everybody else seems to have got Star Wars.
My mother got me.
My mother Jedi, it throws the other two films to me, like what everyone's saying here. I can't remember, though, even though I've got all this day Return of the Jedi and stuff, it made such an impact on me as a kid. I can't remember, did I see Star Wars and Empire first? Did my dad have them on VHS? Did I get to see one of them before the others? Or was Jedi my first introduction? I really can't remember that. That's one thing that is fuzzy.
You see Miriam's comment, she said, begged to see Empire with my brother and uncle. Made them leave because I cried so much when Vader had his showdown with Luke, I was not allowed to attend it. Oh, we're not taking her.
She made us leave early. We can't take her to the next one.
We're going to go through the toys as well, but what I've got, just to keep us all on a target, whatever, I've got a handful of iconic pictures, if you will. Okay. And I thought what we'd do is I'll just put the picture up and you lot can explain the picture and if it means anything to you. It's just not scene by scene, but in order, if you will. So I'll start from right here. So this, to me, is one of the most iconic pictures in Star Wars, especially Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I just remember that was a four-piece one in the sticker book. One that you had to get all 4 pieces to put that in the sticker book. Do you remember?
It was the first page.
I remember that.
It was the first page.
He's like, the Emperor's coming here.
That is correct.
It's just that
Commander.
Death Star. It's just, do you remember seeing the Death Star the way it was done like
Yeah.
that?
It's all
Yeah.
partly built, yeah.
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 So it went from there.
Imperial shuttle, yeah.
Yeah, and there it is. Oh, I love that thing. It's just fun.
Design, isn't it?
Oh, Scott, I mean, and then when you saw Gina Carano take over in the Mandalorian, I just thought that is just awesome. You know, it's just an iconic look. This is also an iconic look. Now, was this the first time, if you remember, that Vader was shiny? Because I remember he wasn't shiny in the New Hope. I can't remember Empire.
Well, if you look at Vader's helmet in the first two movies, they're really rough. Like they don't look smooth and really sort of well finished. So I think it probably is.
Yeah, I know they updated
anyway.
the costume for the movie, but I never really noticed.
There was a different iteration for each movie. I think he was shiny in Empire. I'm just thinking that scene where he stood on the bridge of the Star Destroyer when all the ships are going by. I'm fairly sure he's shiny, but yeah, there's definitely a different iteration, and this is my favourite Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose as good move for the movie costumes.
Yeah, I think there is a couple of versions where it's black and some sections are like a gunmetal, and then there's others where I think it's all black and yeah.
So you made a
when
point
the
about
Emperor
this
showed up, right?
This before. This is your most iconic Vader in it, Return of the Jedi Vader side. This
I
is the
just
one.
think when Return of the Jedi came along, everything just turned to the stylistics. Everything's just looked so much better. Like the outfit there never looked as good in Return of the Jedi as it did in any of the others. Well, then, like, you look at the Emperor's Royal Guard behind him and the biker scout, everything just seemed to turn dead stylish, didn't it? And, like, really mint Return of the Jedi. So, yeah, I think that the Jedi Vader is probably my favourite Vader, I'd say. The image of that is the one I always think of when I think of Darth Vader. It always seems to be in his hanger as well, isn't it?
It seemed to really be at his prime in Jedi as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know, physically, it looks like, you know, like he could do some harm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just laughing at VTR's comment.
The shoeshine lad on floor 432 got carried away.
Yeah, super buff. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely brilliant.
I think what I like about this picture as well, with the Empire, everything's black and white or grey, and then you've got the Emperor's Royal Guard, just that bright red.
Yeah.
Stands out.
Well, it's funny you say that, Des. I mean, I know I'm referring to Empire here. I apologise, lads, but that's what I like about the AT-AT drivers' helmets, because you've got that bit of colour.
Yeah, just that.
Usually it's sort of black and white, or all black, or all white, or I do like to see a bit of colour. Yeah.
But it's funny because you all know I'm an artist, and I preferably use black, whites, and red. And I wonder subconsciously if it was images like this seen as a kid that really did stick in with that black and white contrast with a throw of red thrown in, you know, and what impact it makes. Funny, isn't it?
Who knows? Yeah,
it's funny talking about Star Wars. The original trilogy for me, one of the things that he did was every helmet. Name me a bad helmet in the original trilogy. Every one of them, from Bouge to the Emperor's Royal Guard, it's so iconic.
Even the gunners, those Imperial gunners, we were all when the figure came out. When the figure came out, we were all like, "Oh, I gotta have that guy." You know?
I've always liked the TIE fighter pilots.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
The teardrop ones, especially where they've got the silver coming down from their eyes. They're really nice.
Oh,
The AT-AT drivers as well.
That white helmet, that was mint. One of that white and grey one.
Yeah, this is iconic. This is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's just landscapes like this, lads, in it, you know, with Jabba's palace in the background, and just even though it's so, you know, it's a sand, you know, and it's a desert, whatever, but it's so real to us, but so far away to us as well. Do you not think?
Have you seen photos of it now when people visit?
Yeah. I remember Star Wars Obsessed did it a couple of years back. They went all around it, didn't they? And theirs was a really good video on it.
Yeah, friends of mine in the club, friends of mine in the Star Wars club I'm part of, they were standing like almost in this exact spot and took a photo. Wow. They had someone behind them take a photo from this angle, and you can see the same sort of cracks. They're a little bit different because of the way the water flows, but the way that slope is coming down to that flat part that 3PO and R2 on was exactly the same. You could see those ridges in the background, and I was like, wow, this is like you were actually there. You know what I mean? Like, and I would love to go someday just to see it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
The matte paintings in this film, as well as the others, is just incredible. I mean,
incredible.
Yeah.
But it's the vastness of that scene. I think that's where a little bit of the TV shows that let me down. I know they use the void, but you just don't get that vastness, that sort of spectacular view.
No.
Because like on this, what is it? The palace and part of those mountains on the right are painted in, right?
Yeah.
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 But it just, again, it captures you. It's just, it's vast, it's big, it's
And I think as well, by the time that this opening came along, we're already invested because of these two characters in it. I mean, they're so loved by us, aren't they? So as soon as you see them, you feel right at home, don't you? Like, yes, here we go.
Let me ask you a question. Did it do you ready when they made the door bigger in the special editions? When they get to the actual entrance of it, the original was quite. It wasn't a big, it was small, but it wasn't like. And then when you saw the special editions, they made it ginormous.
Yeah,
the door,
they made it a bit bigger, didn't they?
I sort of preferred that because it sort of gave like the sense of how big Jabba's palace is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the door was always big.
I always thought
it wasn't that big, was it?
I think the problem I had with it was the door was massive on the outside, but when they walk in through the door and then the shots from the side, the door's back to being the same size as it was before. They didn't adjust it from the inside.
Good point. Yeah.
It was one of the best things about Battlefront 2 was being able to run around Jabba's palace. Just go everywhere, all around it. I loved it.
So Si made a point when we were in the group talking about this deleted scene, and if there was one scene in all of Star Wars that should have been in a movie, it should have been this one. I mean, what do you recall about this?
Well, I didn't see this scene for, it must have been 30 years later. I presume it was on a DVD or something when I first
Blu-ray,
like, I mean, when you see it, it begs the question, why was it left out? Because it explained where the green saber comes from, and seeing kind of, finishing off making a new lightsaber because Vader references it in the film. You made a new saber, so I think it would have tied in better with that scene. So yeah, it boggles the mind why this was left out.
Well, he said he left it out because the entrance of Luke later on is more impactful for the audience.
Yeah, I think that's probably right as well.
Than showing him huddled in a cave doing this right before he goes in. You know what I mean?
And also you'd lose the point where R2 fires the lightsaber out of his
true.
That moment wouldn't be quite.
Yeah, I think it is more impactful though, because if you're watching that scene with R2 and C-3PO in the palace, and you think you're sat there thinking, well, we know Luke's somewhere, we know Luke's not far behind him. Whereas when you see him walk in, when I was watching, Luke's here, Whereas is he coming? I don't know. Whereas we'd have known, wouldn't we? We know he's somewhere. So we know he's coming. So I get, and like you say, because Vader references it later on, I see you've constructed a new lightsaber. Yeah. They must have looked at that and just gone, it's probably not necessary, which I guess it maybe wasn't essential, but a really cool scene. And I'd have liked to have seen it left in, though.
Yeah.
I think we all sort of got the gist because the lightsaber was green. We'd never seen that before. So he was like, he's got his own now. And, we knew about, when Jedi has to build their own and stuff. But again, just this scene at the beginning, it just adds as he turns to the dark side after Empire. Because after Empire finished, it was all that weight. You had no idea what happened to Luke. And this was the first thing you saw of him. Dark cape on, over his eyes, fixing a lightsaber that's not the colour of blue that we recognise. I just think it would have added a lot more, I know what you're saying. Having him walking into Jabba's palace, the huddle sort of did the same thing as well.
Well, that's my most vivid memory, Si. When the gates come up and you just see the silhouette shadow. Oh man! I mean, like I said, that stuck with me now for 41 years. The reason why, Jedi Luke is my most iconic favorite character of all time.
Yeah. And also, you don't really know when he walks into Jabba's palace whether he's good still, because he starts strangling Gamorrean guards.
I never doubted. Well, I never doubted Luke. I did not even hear the possibility that he had turned to the dark side until 10 years later when I joined a different Star Wars club and people started discussing it. And I was like, are you serious? My friends and my brother and everybody in my neighborhood, none of us considered, it never even came on our lips that he was dark side. Like, never even.
No, but it is a good point though, Martin, because when he walks in and you just see that outline, that silhouette, and that big hood up and the big cloak, he does look quite sinister. And then, like you say, then he's sort of the Gamorrean guards got pushed against the wall, and you do think, oh, that's very un-Luke-like, But it's just a great.
That's because we've only ever seen Darth Vader do that. We've only ever seen Darth Vader. The Darth Vader trick, you're like, hang on a minute, what's going on here?
He really is his dad.
Yeah. That side of him though, that
is just the build order from the NEC, is it?
But that entrance where he comes in and he's sort of almost threatening Jabba, sort of saying to him, I warn you not to underestimate my powers, and you think it's not kind of how you expect him to talk, but he's obviously very now self-assured, he's very accomplished, and he knows it, and I quite like that side of him,
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is he didn't have the dogma of the Jedi that the whole school would have had. He basically was going off of the little bit that Yoda taught him, and then some words from a ghost, and he had no like if he had been raised in the temple, they would have been like, this is how you do things and blah, 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 So Luke became his own Jedi in a sense, not one that had to follow all the rules of the like Qui-Gon had said in or was it, who was it earlier that was like the dogma of the Jedi and all that, they mean like,
I've often wondered since seeing the prequels though, and sort of you see the Jedi Council and the sort of the cockiness of them, and they don't see it coming. I've often wondered, do you think Yoda possibly trained Luke a bit differently? They Obi-Wan and Yoda, they knew they were training them for a specific task, and I've often thought that maybe
I do, yeah.
Trained a little bit differently than the other Jedi.
When you saw don't you, in the sequels, that's probably right. He probably did think with this one it's going to be a whole different way, because it's been going wrong for so many years. When you look at Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and even though they didn't turn, they made mistakes. They made there was no way that these were going to keep this Jedi Order going. So I think you're right, Connor. I think with Luke, he just was a little bit different, shall we say, not as
different type of training.
Yeah.
So I like how Droopy McCool is just sort of jumped up.
Well, this is what I mean, John. Name me one kid that. I mean, look at this, Scott here. Just, I mean, that to us is our childhood, isn't it? All those aliens in that room.
It's just fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the design. There's still some of the wackiest alien designs that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Really, and you look, and I've watched it a couple of times in the last week, and I've been trying to look over people's shoulder at some of the different creatures and characters. There's some things stuck on the wall with like a big tongue coming out of it.
There's a wampa, isn't there, on the wall?
That's right, there is a wampa and a tauntaun. There's a tauntaun, yeah. I mean,
tauntaun, not wampa. Sorry.
No, there's a wampa as well. There's a wampa on one side in it and a tauntaun on the other one. I'm sure it's both. I don't know. Whoever's got the BBC book, you should know this, Martin.
Yeah, no.
Is there also like a crocodile thing as well, like something that looks like a crocodile sticking out the walls? It's got like a long snake thing.
Yeah, well, according to the there is,
I mean, so who we got on here? We got Yak Face, Gamorrean guards. We got Squid Head, Boba Fett.
Greedo in there, is he?
Yeah, I think Greedo must be.
Yeah, Greedo with the orange.
There is a roadie. Definitely a roadie.
Yeah, it looks a lot like Greedo, but
Jawa. I mean, it's just that to us. I mean,
they don't make aliens like that in Star Wars anymore, do they?
100% not. 100%
not really.
Then we've got this character.
Why has that not been released in the Black Series?
Has that not been released? Josh at Ollie Chronicles has got a replica of it, and it's done with the leather and the metal. And
yeah, well, that's probably why it's not been done in Black Series, because of all the different materials rather than just plastic.
Yeah.
How amazing would that be to get in the Black Series?
And it's so cool. It's so cool that Star Trek stole it and used it for that whole race of characters.
The green.
The green, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Helmet, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Has Matt got it as Hot Toys? Do you know?
Well, let me. Well, no, he's only got one, hasn't he?
He's only got one or two.
Yeah,
In this house, that helmet was known as Sega Mega Drive head. That's what it was known
Sega
as.
Mega Drive.
So you can see the total one right here, but this
Yeah.
again, because we were left in Empire with him obviously being taken by Boba Fett, and this is when we see him right here on the wall. And again, what does he say, Jabba? My favourite decoration, and it's
yeah.
I need carbon out like this.
Should have sent you that picture, Shabby, shouldn't I? I don't know if I've got it.
Well, you can always stick it up. If you have, I'll make you big. But
I'll see if I can send you it.
okay, that is
He's holding
awesome.
a thermal detonator.
The tension as well in that scene. Do you not think the way she hits the wind chimes and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to sneak in. It's like anything. You try to sneak around, you're going to make a bit of noise, aren't you? Yeah.
Who are you?
That was a big
Someone who
reveal
loves
as well.
you.
I know we talked about Luke earlier, but then when that helmet came off, that blew my mind. Seeing who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I liked it when you saw Lando set up. He like dips it down a little bit, like, "Hey, it's
Yeah,
me."
just
You know,
pulls
like,
his thing down. Yeah.
Now this is
And
from the
they were two of my favorite figures growing up.
oh, they were. Yeah, they were.
They were
I
baddies.
still like them now.
Yeah, but they could be both. You could put them with your baddies if you wanted to bulk out your bad guys, and then you could, take the helmets off, and they were the good guys. And I loved that with those figures growing up.
I think most of the favorite figures from the Return of the Jedi line come from Jabba's palace. This whole, like, all this menagerie of characters is like so cool.
Yeah.
Where do you want me to send this, Shabby? I've just got a picture to send you.
Send it on Messenger to Facebook. Just
Facebook.
easy. Yeah.
I know
Just
that.
if
Laugh.
you can put it on.
So yeah, I mean,
Look at all that snot coming out of his nose.
Yeah.
everything kids loving it. I mean, it's funny because you talk about how good CGI is right now. I've never thought they've made Jabba look as good. as what he
No.
does now.
No,
he
they never have.
Never
Yeah,
has.
absolutely
This is
true.
the best. This is the best he's ever looked. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's physically
absolutely.
there, isn't he? And that's the difference.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just
I
can't
also
create
think
that
it's the best. I also
Agreed.
think it's the best Yoda looked because
Yeah.
in one of the prequels,
I think
Yoda,
so,
Yoda
yeah,
looks
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
100%.
then he looks very strange.
I agree with that too. So let's just get to the next picture, which is
That screams Jedi, doesn't it?
just listen
That's
to
how
all
I
the-
walk around work like that. Just to
It's
try and
just-
look really.
That's what I mean. I mean, I know we're sticking with original trilogy, but that to me is just the epitome of Jedi, right there. I mean, it's
Just how
You
the
know.
light shines down on him.
just
Looks
perfect,
great.
absolutely
Perfect,
perfect.
isn't it?
What a great character! And
Master
then
Luke, you're standing on.
this is what one of you was alluding to before, the way he came across it. We've never seen Luke like this.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we love the progression of Luke Skywalker from farm boy to trainer to this to Jedi Knight, and wow, man, that even the gun was super cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just see the card back when you see that image as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really do. It's the only card
I
back
always wondered though why that Klaatuin is like. I do.
Yeah.
Make you jump.
Absolutely brilliant. Rancor. What do we think of the Rancor?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Rancor was
Again,
cool. Yeah.
Can I just say Rachel actually feels sorry for the Rancor in Jedi? he gets trapped in the door. She sits there and she goes, "Oh, that's somebody's pet."
Yeah.
Oh,
It's going to eat him, love. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
there we go. I mean,
Yeah.
Wow.
what can we say about the skiff, the sail barge? It's just
yeah.
both
They
of them.
should have never. They should have never made the Sarlacc pit burp. But other than the burp, it's a beautiful.
Yeah.
And they should never have given it that stupid little mouth thing that they get.
No,
gets
the
in
beak.
ring.
Yeah. Why did
I
they
don't
add-
mind that, to be honest.
No.
Well, it looks
It
like Little
screeches
Shop of
like some
Horrors.
sort of-
This scene's all about the
Look
John
at the little
Williams
shop.
music.
This thing's what, Martin?
This scene's all about the John Williams music. It's,
Yeah.
what a start to the scene
Dun,
where it's
dun.
done.
Although
Dun,
I just can't think of it without the Family Guy thing now.
Just going to say the same, Des. I can't watch that
Yeah.
scene now without
Ruined it,
thinking
haven't
it's
it?
going to go on
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't see
I mean,
anyone nodding for
what a
50
picture that
times.
Yeah.
I mean, look how long that lightsaber. And I like the long version of a lightsaber like that. I just thought it was super cool.
This was on the storybook that we had here in the States. This was awesome.
Do you remember if you first seen the green one? Because I remember the advertisements were blue, weren't they? It was a blue lightsaber in their trailer.
Yeah, they kept it a secret.
Yeah, I've got an old animal upstairs and it's still blue, isn't it?
Apparently, that was because when they tried the blue saber in front of the blue sky, it didn't come out very well on film, so they changed it in the edit to green. But originally, it wasn't meant to be blue again.
Yeah, which is why the figure came out with the blue saber, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Then we've got obviously Yoda. Yep. I mean, considering this is a puppet, name me one fella our age this does not hit home with. You know what I mean?
It just looks real when you see it.
Yeah, you didn't.
I agree, DTM.
You never thought it was a puppet when you were looking at it. That's the thing. That's the brilliance about all of the Star Wars films back in the day, is that you knew those were puppets. Jabba, Yoda, like those characters, like the guards and everybody. You knew that they were puppets or people in a suit, but they looked like they were real things. You know what I mean? Like you just didn't. You didn't think he was sitting next to Kermit the Frog. You know what I mean? You really thought it was an actual character, you know?
But I think a lot of that, though, John, is because they were physical puppets moved by real people, not CGI, not, they were made, they were physical, tangible, and I think it just adds to it for me. I think
there's in this scene, there's a bit where he just sort of turns over and puts a blanket around himself.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Just takes you out of it, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I think that's because the actor who's
the last of the shabbies you will be.
No, there is another.
Oh, just ridiculous. Even when he's getting into bed, his little legs getting into it. And he just it's weird, isn't it, Martin? It doesn't take you out of it at all, does it? It's like...
I think the fact that the actors who were doing the voice were actually controlling the puppets makes a big difference as well. Yeah. Because they're actually making the movements to the dialogue.
Well, I mean, you get Frank Oz, you get your Oz.
They were real.
You're on a
Even going back to Jabba, I mean, Jabba was real because they had people in there,
There was like three. Wasn't there like three people inside Jabba?
Yeah, I think so.
Took a few.
I've recently seen someone do a custom with a Jabba, and they've took the front panel out, and they've got three figures inside it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool.
They had that little guy in the tail. He's like, I moved this backwards and forwards. Backwards and forwards.
I just want to show everybody this that our Luke's just sent me. This is cool, man. So tell everybody, if they don't know, Luke, what this is.
I'm pretty sure they'll know what it is, yeah.
No, what it is for you, I mean, in your house.
Yeah, well, obviously that was something I bought just before we moved to the house we're in now. And it was always meant to go in. I mean, you can see it behind me. Where I've got the shelves, obviously, I've got the room that I've now got my collection in has got two recesses. It's got like a chimney breast wall running up through it and two recesses each side. And I thought, how great would it be if I can get like a life-size, Hanning carbonite, stick it in one of the recesses. But of course, I got that much stuff. We just moved in, and Rachel looked at me and she went, "Hanning carbonite would look good in the dining room, wouldn't it?" I was like, yeah.
It's a trap.
She's like, you're going to end up using a full recess in your room for just that. That's a lot of shelf space. So why don't you put that in the dining room? We'll backlight it. It'll look good. Because our dining room furniture is very rustic, very metal, sort of pipes and things like that. And she's like, it'll look great in the dining room.
Oh,
wow. Okay, what? I was like, yeah.
What's the catch?
Wincing,
Have you been replaced with a pod person?
So I mean, I don't know. I got away with it, but I mean, Rachel's very good. Obviously, she's massively supportive, and she does a lot of eye rolling. What crap have you bought this time? But she's like, put it in the dining room. We'll put some orange lights behind it. It's orange lights, right? It's like,
that's a stunning piece to have in your room.
We just sort of have the backlight on an evening, and I can't walk through the dining room without going, some kind of quote, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, let me ask you: if you had to have one prop or one piece from Return of the Jedi, what would you have? So, Si, what would you have if you had one proper piece from Return of the Jedi?
Like a scout, speeder bike.
Speeder bike for Si, yeah.
Imagine.
Hey, you'd look great around Blackpool in one of them sites, flying around and all that sort of stuff.
I was
What was it
bike
about
a scout outfit in the speeder bike. That's what I'd have, both of them.
What about you, Connor?
I've come so close so many times to buying a lightsaber, and I don't know, obviously, possibly the cost. I chicken out, but yeah, I would love a Luke Skywalker green and probably blue lightsaber, yeah, for sure. And I've had them in my hands in the comic store and even the Disney store, and I've come so close and put it back. So one day
That's
I'll have
that's what mine will be. And I bought it, the Black Series green. Ignite the green. To me, the green lightsaber is just the coolest looking thing on earth.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a beautiful hilt on it.
it really is. So yeah, I got that there. What about you, Des? What would you take?
Well, I've said before, I'd love to have the HasLab badge, but to take something out of the actual film, I don't know, Han Solo's blaster.
A DL-44. Yeah,
Good shout.
Good shout.
Yeah,
Johnny
nice.
boy.
Oh, the Yoda puppet for sure.
Yeah.
I could have the actual Yoda in my Yoda collection. You know, that'd be
told
like-
you
it was something
rings
else,
on
wasn't it?
toes for having to you. Oh, right, that's
Yeah.
you know,
yeah. I
That'd
wouldn't
be
be able
awesome.
to exist. He'd be
Oh.
on podcast. He'd be on the show with me. You know, yeah.
PTO, what about you, pal?
I'd probably say the R2D2 with the drinks unit on top of it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. top at kitchen stairs somewhere. Just
You could always
You know,
have it
ready
full
for the
too.
drink.
You know what
Yeah.
you could do is you could build a little tap.
That
That little tap on the top could actually work, and you could have a little, plug-in
Yeah.
peg that you stick into R2, and then you pull
Why
the
not?
tap.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Des, did they ask you, Des? No, I haven't yet. Des, what would you have? Oh, I have.
Han Solo blaster.
That's right. Sorry, mate. Martin.
Well, that was a tough one. Can I pick three?
If I can get three, we all get three. Now, hang on. Fair to fair.
I'd love the Emperor's chair. I
yeah.
would also love
Yeah.
the second Death Star model. But if I could pick one of the three, I definitely would go for this bad boy,
There you
the
go,
actual
yeah.
one used in the film. I love this so much.
Oh,
It's
Beautiful.
yeah, it's
nice.
this one's just what they called master replica saber. It's much too big, but I'd really love the proper Jedi saber. That would be amazing.
That's gorgeous, Martin. That's beautiful.
A proper working lightsaber.
Oh, absolutely, Des. Yeah.
So handy.
And if you had the Emperor's chair, would you go on team meetings for work with it?
Yeah,
you turn around
Gosh,
cloak
you would.
on her.
Just turn right.
Oh,
Turn.
round.
I'd have the cloak on.
Good morning.
Got the face for it.
Scott, what about you, Scott? What would you have?
I'd go for the Boba Fett armor. The whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, that would look fantastic. Either on a mannequin or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A mannequin,
Yeah.
Scott. You'd wear that every day around the house. You'd be
I would
doing
wear
Who
it.
that.
wouldn't? If you had that, you would do, wouldn't you?
I
Yeah.
just take the helmet off for teams meetings.
I win. Jumpy says take a speeder bike. Yeah. Jono said Darth Vader's helmet. Yeah, there's a few of them. Luke, what would yours be?
Well, I suppose I'd be silly not to say Han in Carbonite, wouldn't I? But if I had to pick something else, it would probably be this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's make you big.
Very nice.
This was a guy. I met a guy on eBay who sort of did these as customs.
That's a custom.
Yeah, this is a custom. Yeah, this isn't the Black Series. So I was like, yeah, I'll take one of those. And I did start putting together, like what Scott had just said. I did start putting together the armor. So I've got like sort of 3/4 of the Boba Fett armor and outfit, sort of put together, and then I just kind of stopped doing the whole sort of cosplay thing. And I don't know if it's something I'll revisit, but I've got probably about 3/4 of Boba Fett's outfit. Like the LED readouts on the chest plate, and they've got the neck flak, and
wow.
I haven't got the boots. The boots are so difficult to get. With the toe spikes on and things like that, but yeah, I think Boba Fett for me is just the armor is. I think I like 3 helmets, and it's just one of them. And I know we saw him initially in Empire, but I think he's prominent in Jedi as well. So
yeah. I have a friend that became a really good friend of ours, but the way we met was we had organized a lineup for episode 1 when tickets went on sale. That was like a week-long lineup, and we slept over every single night. And one of the days, we were sponsored by a couple of radio stations and the paper, a newspaper, and a local TV station. Because I knew people and all that worked in all these things. And anyways, one of them ordered pizzas for us one night, and we were told they were being delivered. And the guy delivering the pizzas walked up in a Boba Fett suit that he had made. He totally made it. He made the helmet. He made the whole suit, all the stuff on it. And he walks up with these like 4 or 5 pizzas coming down the thing. And then when he gets to us, he takes his helmet off. And he was a tall guy, like 6'5" or something. But so it just was like impressive all the way around. And his name was Brian, and we became good friends like ever since. And
that's
like
great.
right at that moment, it was like, you're a friend of ours. Come on, sit down. You know?
But isn't that what Star Wars does? It you just automatically, we can be friends. You know,
but he built all the armor. This is what was really impressive. He built all the armor and stuff. He got a helmet similar to how you did. It was like a custom-made helmet. But all the armor that was on the jumpsuit, he had built it out of intricate, carved and stacked layers of cardboard.
Wow.
And then he was just like roughing the edge, like wherever it had to be rounded or had to be done. He was meticulously looking at photos and everything he could get his hands on.
Good.
He would just carve it with X-Acto knives and things, and then he put something like a lacquer over it all and painted it. But we couldn't believe that it was made out of stacked cardboard and all this stuff. We were like, "Are you kidding me?" Some of that looked like plastic and molded parts, but he had done it all out of cardboard meticulously. It was just amazing. Yeah. Because he couldn't afford it.
Goes on,
He's like, I couldn't afford doing it out of plastic or any other way, but pieces of cardboard I could stack up and whittle it while I'm watching movies or something. He worked meticulously on every piece, you know.
I mean, you try and buy one of them. I mean, a Boba Fett, a real legit, like sort of 5.0 first standard Boba Fett outfit. You're into thousands, you know. So it makes sense if you can sort of do one yourself, or people.
And the gun was all made out of carved wood. He just got a block of wood and carved the shape out, and then painted it. So it was like, and you couldn't. I mean, once you started looking at it and knew the construction, you could start telling. But when you're looking at it all together, just standing there at a little bit of a distance, you could not tell it was cardboard and carved wood and stuff.
It's one of those. If you can do a lot of it yourself. I mean, my Stormtrooper armor. To try and get it at a price I could afford, because to get a ready-made, measured up, sort of ready to wear armor, you were into thousands. So I mean, I was really lucky and managed to get mine. I don't know again how I came across him. There was a guy just selling sets of armor, but on eBay, and I don't know how he had so many, but he seemed to be listing them throughout. Every single day for maybe about a month, listed them just every 3 hours. A new one would go on at 99p start, another one would go on, another one would go on. And of course, because he was doing it literally almost every 3 hours, some of them were going for like £800-900, but then some were finishing at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And they were going for maybe 400. I was like, right, okay, so if I set my alarm and wake myself up at 3 a.m, there's a chance. And I ended up getting a full set for £280.
Wow,
that's amazing.
But you had to do all the work, so it had to be cut out, because it all came in like flat sheets with the armor molded into a big white flat sheet.
I got you.
So I had to sort of cut it all out, sort of measure it to size, then put the fasteners on, strap in, everything you had to do yourself. But the armor itself was there. And obviously, if you had the time and inclination, it took me about 18 months on and off to finish it from start to finish, because it was when I've got an hour there, an hour here, I'll do that shin piece tonight, I'll do that forearm piece tonight. And it took me about a year and a half, but it came together. And, obviously I had to buy a bit
You
of
still have it, Luke?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I haven't worn it for a while. It's sat in its trunk over in the corner. Same place as where my Boba Fett armor is, same place as my... Battlefront 2 character, Inferno Squad. My Inferno Squad outfit. It's the same. They're all just in a box now. I don't wear them really, which is a shame. But
you got to get some mannequins and put them on.
It's where I don't think Rachel have anything else in the dining room.
Secretly, what the bedroom. So when she wakes up in the morning.
You know, I have thought about it because I won't get rid of the outfits, and I thought it would be cool to have some mannequins and just put them all on. But there's nowhere for them to go. But I won't get rid of them; they'll just sit in the trunks for now.
Luke says, "Don't forget to get
your Jedi power." John, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
We so long looking at that impressive Boba Fett outfit. Did your pizza go cold?
yeah. I mean, I don't remember. Come to think of it, we probably didn't eat it for a little while. It probably sat there while we were all gawking at the costume. You're right.
Can I just say thanks, everybody? We've got over 50 people watching this all the way through, so I really, really appreciate that. I really do. Now, one of the nicest things about Star Wars is the fact that all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we all know. I mean, it's one of those rarities that basically everyone knows the designers in the production. So, me and Simon put together a Return of the Jedi gallery of behind-the-scenes. Have thought so many people, so many talented people. Well done, Si. Well done, Si. That was
fascinating finding out after all these years that Travels with Jason.
Girls went to the trailer with me.
Oh yeah. All official pictures, then. All official.
All of it. You're right, Si. I would have known Travels with Jason was Darth Vader.
I know. Yeah, who'd have known?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Lucas, you're Mr. Baxter trying to fuckery. I tell you what, Luke. How many years now, Luke? How many years? You know what I mean?
Never going away, is it?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Oh, between the sheets, I mean, scenes. What are you talking about, Wayne? Mr. B, he's a great. Yeah, Simon, you went through the archives to find all those behind-the-scenes pictures, Simon.
Yeah,
it's Lucasfilm archives, then. Yeah, nothing to do with me.
These are taken from the not so special edition. Tell his Thanks and DTM are all business,
That's us. Yep.
I was doing a Des Teeling. Usual Mike, I am Mike. In about 100 years, some internet historian's going to think these pictures.
These are the guys that made it.
We might get our own
They're
figures.
so big. Why are their heads so big? You know, like,
First gallery, yeah. It was worth getting the copyright music for. Worth it, to be honest.
Last King Cop, never thought.
I can't believe King David was it. Guess that Admiral Akbar could not make the show tonight after Stu. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was good though. What he signed that Admiral Akbar on Stu on Sunday.
He kept in character all night, should we say? I thought it was him. At the end of the night, it must have been.
It might have been him. It might have been Admiral Akbar.
So when we left off going through Return of the Jedi, we left off with Yoda, didn't we? Right here. And,
yeah.
Well, what a scene!
Can I ask you, let me just ask a question about this scene, right? Because I always wondered, why did Luke actually go back and see Yoda? Was it just for confirmation that because he didn't really know that Darth Vader was his father in a sense, like he told him he was, but he wasn't. So he wasn't going back for that, was it?
Yeah, in Empire, he promised him return, didn't he?
Yeah, did.
It doesn't seem to be like a pure reason why he went back, apart
to finish
from
his
just
training, supposedly.
I thought it was to finish the training.
Yeah, supposedly to finish his
So
training.
it was to finish the training when Scott and Luke. That's what it actually was. Because I'm under the impression of why did it just you know? Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen my mum for a week. I better go around for a cuppa. To complete
it was just unfortunate that while Luke was gone, Yoda had caught pneumonia and now he's dying.
He says to him, though, doesn't he? Because he goes back to complete his training, but Yoda says you don't need any more training. No training is required.
Well, that's because he's going to die.
He faced Vader as well. It wasn't that said that until he faces Vader, his training won't be complete. So
yeah.
Right. Okay.
He faced him in Empire. Well, that's the way I took
it. Yoda, though, to us, like, I mean, I know especially to Super Awesome, but he's a character in the Yoda. I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, good character, yeah.
I agree.
Good creation, how they did it. And,
you genuinely believe this guy is a Jedi master, don't you? Even though he's only little and this and that. And it's just, I think he's got some of the best quotes in all of Star Wars. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, he has. And the fact that he forms his sentences back to front, I just think he's unique and just, you know,
I've been doing that years.
Well, like when I was a kid, like basically all of my learning of the Force and the mysticism of it all, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we're not this crude matter, you know, and like, you know, the Force is used never for attack, you know, and he's like aggression, fear leads to the dark side, you know, and all that stuff. It was like, it was almost like you were getting those lessons as a kid at the same time as Luke was getting those lessons, you know, and here's Luke running through the jungle with this little guy on his back. But I mean, it was just like, I don't know. I mean, it hit me in a different way, just like Optimus Prime hit me as a, you know, telling me lessons or something, you know what I mean? So
exactly what I mean.
I just thought it was
question here. Why didn't Vader disappear like anyone want to take that, like disappear like Obi-Wan and Yoda?
Well, we don't know.
Machine, money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just his hand disappeared, the good one.
No, but in Revenge of the Sith, Yoda says to Obi-Wan he's had contact from Qui-Gon and he's learned how to.
Now, the reason has been
with the Force, so they became. Geez, I'm going to sound like very mystic here. They became one with the Force, where Vader hadn't done that training because his training was all for. That's the way I took it.
Yeah,
I think in hindsight, now that everything's been retconned to be that way, I think in hindsight, what happened is you can think of it as like after he dies and he gets burned on the funeral pyre, and his Force spirit is fading in to become one with the Grand Force. Either Obi-Wan, probably Obi-Wan, if not Yoda. It was probably Obi-Wan that sort of like held on to his essence and made him coalesce back into the being that he was to live within the Force, you know.
Scuba says Vader had an imperial burial plan.
But I suppose when you see Luke burning him, you don't actually see Vader inside the outfit, do you? So there's nothing to say it's not just a hollow outfit. He's already gone.
Yeah,
You know, he's already gone.
That could be too. Yeah.
You know, it'd be weird though if you did see him in it. Come imagine us like at 8 and 10. So now we've got Obi-Wan talking to. Now this was. It started off pretty weird, didn't it? You know what I mean? About a certain point of view and so forth. But what do you think of this scene?
I thought it was great because like you're just sitting there and Luke walks out, and I didn't expect it when I first saw it. Where you're just like, Luke's like, that's it. You know, you can see it in his face, like, I'm on my own. And then all of a sudden you hear this, Yoda will always be with you. And you're like, what? And then out from the thing steps Obi-Wan, and you're like, no way! Look at that. Obi-Wan's a freaking ghost. That's so cool, you know. Like,
so why does a ghost need to sit down?
It's tired of being a ghost.
The conversational set pieces.
Yeah.
It was just great the way he had that big monologue speech about she was remained secret and you'll never know. And he just went, liar.
Yeah.
He'd be great at charades. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she remains safely anonymous. There's my sister. Yeah, you're right.
You got it.
Well, I suppose they could tell they knew he was good now. I loved this scene because, again, I hadn't seen Empire, so I hadn't seen Obi-Wan appear to Luke in the snow. So to see Alec Guinness back for this scene, I remember it well. I loved this scene in Return of the Jedi. And the explanation he gave, I just bought it as a kid. Okay. You know, Leia's Luke's sister. Let's move on with the rest of the show now.
It's funny, isn't it? Because Luke looks dead pissed at the start. Why didn't you tell me? Do you know what I mean? He has that face like, you know, all this time. Then we've come to this, the Rebel Alliance.
Oh, I loved this part. Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they're all there, and you know, it's funny because you can see most of these Star Wars figures right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's absolutely
you
brilliant.
can. But how many of you thought Pruneface was a bad guy until you saw this scene?
I did. And I always thought it was Luke that walked up the Imperial Shield, but it wasn't.
With the hood up. Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, didn't know that until later on in life, I suppose. But
and then he disappears.
Yeah.
Pruneface never gets back. He never lands on. Like, where does he go?
You never see him.
He doesn't do anything on
down.
the moon of Endor.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you see the CGI of Moon Endor here, and it holds up even now. You don't need it real.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It just holds up perfect. So,
Can I just take a moment? I want to make a public service announcement.
Go on.
Lando is an amazing figure. Why is he still on pegs? Everyone needs this figure.
Yeah,
I think I have one somewhere. Yeah. General.
If you don't have a Lando, go out and get a Lando figure.
Get your
They're probably only $5 right now.
Yeah, I just want, 2025. I just want to see more Lando love, please.
Yeah, this is a figure we haven't. Have you got this in the TBC yet, lads? The prune face figure, because we haven't got him in black.
Yeah, he's out on TBC. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I need someone to 3D this wall table. Yeah, it's iconic, isn't it? That look. Prune face was just there to fix the copier.
I'm sure IB3D has done a 3D printed version of it. We need it in Hasbro. That's what we need it.
That's VTR's favourite guy there.
Yep, there he is.
Yep.
VTR's favourite, loves him.
I loved that figure. I loved having a rebel figure in uniform. I don't know. I always had a lot of love for that figure.
It's funny, isn't it? Because the actual Kenner figure of this Da Vinci looks, even the colours are wrong, aren't they? It's nothing like this figure at all. Absolutely brilliant. So there we are on the Imperial shuttle right here.
Oh,
yeah. Actually,
Han Solo looks bored.
So we were at the Echo. We were staying in the hotel. He actually was having his dinner across from us.
Me and Helen were sat next to him.
Yeah.
I
always goes my mind that when I see Return of the Jedi actors. I don't really want to get starstruck much, really, but when I see anybody that was in Return of the Jedi, I'm like, oh my god. It's weird how I get like that. And being in this community these past few years, how many have we met now from Return of the Jedi? It's brilliant, isn't it? You're like, you know them all.
This was
awesome.
This big satellite dish in the background, and
again, I still think that looks great.
I do.
I still
I
think that was
completely
great.
agree.
Corridors here.
Yeah.
Well, and when you realize how big that is, because later on the AT-AT pulls up to one of those little docking ports underneath the landing pad, and so that landing pad is taller than an AT-AT. You know, like it's like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh, and that landing pad on Battlefront 1 was great to play on.
Yes.
It was just brilliant with it around on it.
Now, speedbacks. How iconic is this?
Wow.
That's just amazing.
Would you like
the
to agree
helmets
that?
as well? I think the helmets are great.
So you say the best one, Scott, because I know our side loves this, and I just got it for Christmas too. This helmet, because there's no way you're gonna say no to that.
I just got one myself. You saw I'm sure you saw that. Some people saw the video.
Yeah. I still don't have it. I'm embarrassed to say I still don't have that one.
Just haven't got room for one, really.
It's funny, isn't it? Because if you look back now, again, going back to what I said before about the Death Star CGI, the CGI in this, I think it's awesome. I wouldn't change a thing about the speeder back chasing Return of the Jedi. You know,
it's the sound effects for me.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dave.
You become an adult, you start thinking back. What imperial middle manager signed off on speeder bikes in a forest? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
And you see the speed they're going. There's no way you can navigate a forest at those speed. However, when you watch it, even now, I watch it and I go, this is over 40 years old. Look at this. This is over 40 years old. Look at how good it looks. Now, of course, you can tell they're not flying through the forest, really. But for an over 40-year-old film now, you just look at it and go, it looks great.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant part. Ewoks. Now, there's been a lot of controversy, hasn't there, over years over Ewoks, and I've always been a fan. I've always liked them. It's their environment, so that's why I thought they had the upper hand. Do you know?
It's the Jar Jar of the original trilogy.
You really?
The same. It's the same controversy. People hated Jar Jar just as much as, like, my friend's father, who walked out because of the Ewoks. He thought they were childish and stupid.
I'm not a massive fan of the Ewoks, but they're nowhere near in the League of Jar Jar for me. I just can't put them in.
For me, I was 8 years of age when I saw the Ewoks. I was 8. And all I got was a load of top bears that were like murderers. That were
murder bears. That's the only thing that I sometimes think. I do tend to watch it and go, really? Are we really saying tiny little teddy bears can take out Imperial armies, Imperial stormtroopers? Are we really doing that? But
I don't mind them. I don't mind either.
I don't mind.
Well, let's be fair, by the time we got down to Jedi, you knew that the stormtroopers were a shit shot anyway. So, like,
but it weren't really that though. But if you had all this armor on and then you got hit on the head by a little stone chucked by a tiny bear, I'd be embarrassed to go, I'm down. Oh, they're beating me up. It'd just hit you and go, ding, wouldn't it? And just they'd be like that, right? Kick him over the fence or something. Get over there.
If it was supposed to be Wookiees, like if it was Wookiees like it was original planned to be, then like the Empire wouldn't have stood a chance, would they, against a gang of Wookiees in the trees?
Oh, I know. They'd be ripping their arms off and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. The Battle Droids did all right on the Battle of Kashyyyk. They did all right against them. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they were droids, though, weren't they? I'm on about like you couldn't see Wookiees like ripping stormtroopers' heads off and arms out and just throwing them about and stuff.
It would have been cool. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it's the eyes in the chat. It's the eyes of the Ewoks.
Oh yeah, they're all dead behind eyes, are they?
Do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to do something really like? It's weird, but if you take your mind out of Star Wars for a moment, and go back to that scene where Wicket meets Leia in the forest. Next time you watch Return of the Jedi, take yourself out of Star Wars. Pretend you're not listening to, like, Leia and Wicket. Close your eyes and listen to that scene. When she goes, "You want something to eat?" "Oh, it's a hat. Come on, try it." The scene becomes completely dirty. It is.
It's funny as well because everyone goes on about Leia in the outfit and stuff on Jabba's sailboat, but to me, she's absolutely gorgeous in that Endor outfit. She's just so pretty. It's just, she blows me away how good looking Carrie Fisher is in Return of the Jedi. She's. I mean, I think she was all our crush. I think all of us had something for her, didn't we?
Not
to
for
be
me.
honest.
I'm more of a bit of a sexy number, like with Linda Carter and Victoria Principal and stuff. Carrie Fisher she never really did it for me. Carrie Fisher.
Did she?
For me.
No, even
Quite
in Jedi.
reassuring though.
No.
Quite reassuring that Ewoks knew how to braid hair, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
make
could
nice
definitely see it because it didn't hit me like while I was dating these girls, but later in life, I kind of looked back and went, did I really have a type? And then I'm just like, yeah, I did, because all the girls I was either attracted to and didn't get, or the ones that I did end up dating, they all had a Carrie Fisher gray there from Buck was it Buck Rogers?
Erin Gray.
Right?
Erin
Gray.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they had that type of look and everything, and I was like, yeah, I definitely got it from these early movies and TV shows that I watched. You know what I mean? I think I felt, yeah, like I had a crush on all these girls in these sci-fi shows and movies, and it definitely, looking back at my life now as an older adult, I can see that, yeah, Jamie looked like that, Kim looked like that, you know, and I'm like going, I definitely had a type, and this is the reason I was attracted to that type of girl, you know?
I'm from Blackpool. I had the same type, but they were just overweight with no teeth. But other than that, so then we've got Luke and Leia right here, and this is a lovely scene. It really is, you know.
Yeah.
And leave. Do you know what I mean? It's just brilliant. I love this scene. But my favourite scene in all the Star Wars is this. And then Martin, I know it's your favourite scene too.
Yeah.
The whole part going forward from here on, as a kid, I would try to replay this when I had the VHS over. I absolutely loved the dialogue of Vader and the Emperor during these scenes moving forward from here. And I used to just play those. I would skip over the Endor forest parts to get back to Vader and the Emperor talking, and then just rewind it to here and play this over and over and over again, because I loved, and I so much wanted more. I was like, why isn't there a movie where we just have Emperor and Vader like doing all this stuff and saying these lines that are so cool? And, you know, like, I just wanted so much more out of Vader and the Emperor from this part.
Martin, just tell me why. I know why it's my favorite, but you tell me why this is your favorite scene.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'll just say this is where Jedi kicks into high gear, and you get basically about 50 minutes from this point of some of the best film ending you've ever going to see in your life, action-wise as well as emotion. And I think emotion would be why I love this scene the most. I mean, you've got a guy in a mask who somehow is able, I don't know whether it's the way it's directed, the way the angles of the camera on Darth Vader's face, but you feel like he's feeling emotion when you watch this scene.
Well, yeah, it's done well, absolutely.
The way he tips his head at certain moments, the way James Earl Jones says the lines, and then on top of that, you've got Luke Skywalker who genuinely believes that when no one else believes that he can bring his father back to the good side of the Force. I mean, I just love this scene. It's my favorite scene in Star Wars.
Mine too.
Of all Star Wars, that, you know, there's no exception. The Emperor scene coming up later would be a close second, but this is just this is. I mean, it basically, this is the turning point of the first of all the films you've seen so far. This is the point in the film where Luke's made a decision, Vader's made a decision, and they're both talking about it, and you don't know really which way it's going to go when you watch this for the first time. And yeah, I can't wax lyrical enough about this scene.
I would say as well about this, the more we watch more Star Wars, the more the story comes out and gets more, the more this scene is more significant, because every time something else comes up in the story, like with an Anakin or a Clone War or whatever, you go back and watch this scene and it means a little bit more and more every time.
If I can just jump in, Shelby, I think that's a really good point. And when they announced they were going to do the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I thought, well, it's going to be based on this scene. This scene is the scene where he says, Obi-Wan once thought as you do. So why was that not incorporated into that show? I mean, it was own goal not putting that in.
It
So
was.
Yeah, I thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You're absolutely right, Martin. And that the good thing, like I think Andy's put it in the comments. Obviously, Vader's got his mask on, his helmet on, so you can't see facial expressions, but you can just tell what's going on under his mask at that point. I mean, in this moment where he says to Luke, "It's too late for me, son," and he's talking to him like a dad for the first time, and then towards the end where you're probably going to allude to this, but I think one of the most poignant moments is where the Emperor's sort of electrocuting Luke and he's sort of, "Father, please," and you can just see Vader he just keeps looking at the Emperor as if to say, "Okay, that's enough." You can see it's hurting him. And he's just sitting, and I think that is brilliantly well done, considering you can't see his face, you can't see facial expressions, but you know exactly what's going through him. It's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
I think that starts right here, though, because
absolutely.
They have their conversation, and he's like, the Emperor is your master now, and then Luke goes, and then my father is truly dead, and Vader turns and looks off into the distance a little bit and kind of like nods his head down. And I think at that moment you see him like that is a brilliant line by Luke, because what it does is I think that sends a little dagger into Vader's heart. It starts what culminates in that scene where Luke's being electrocuted, and then Vader throws the Emperor down that shaft.
Well, it's like when Luke starts being a bit cocky with him at the start, and he turns his back to him, and Vader ignites his lightsaber, and you can see Luke jump just a little bit, like, hang on a minute, I'm trying to, but I don't really know this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's exactly, Scott, and it's just that little jump that Luke does, like, oh shit, do you know what I mean? But it's also the end of it when Luke gets into the attack and Vader walks towards the balcony, even with no conversation or no dialogue at all. You know what he's sensed. You know what he's
the emotion is there. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think as with hindsight as well, now knowing more than we do when we first watched this, is the fact that Vader's seen this all before because it's happened to him. The Emperor has manipulated and turned him to the dark side of the Force, and Vader knows that he's on borrowed time because he's going to be replaced by his son. So Vader, in a sense, has given up and decided.
Well, unless he does what he suggested. He was like, we can destroy the Emperor and rule the galaxy as father and son.
True, but now the Emperor's involved, isn't he? He's there, so he knows the Emperor's too powerful. So I mean, that's what I love about Star Wars. What Shabby just said is the fact that they add all this new stuff in, and it can sometimes make a scene not make sense, but sometimes it really enhances a scene, and in this case, it really did.
It's so simplistic.
What's so special about Luke Skywalker's character was because watching this as a kid, I didn't understand what he was seeing in the Vader that was so good. We've been led to believe up to this point that Vader was the most evil person in the galaxy. And Luke standing there saying, "I see the good in you," and I was, as a kid, you're saying, "What's he seeing? What's he seeing?" But then, as an adult, when you reflect on it, Vader was thinking the same thing I was as a kid, and that's what then changes in Vader. Later on in the film, in the scene with the Emperor, I know you said it was your favorite scene, Martin, but it's a scene that stuck with me through the years as well. Real bridging scene for the end.
He says, you couldn't kill me before and you won't kill me now. So he's seen that Vader does have some good in him because he didn't kill him in Empire. And that's the reason why he's holding on to that glimmer of hope that there is his father still in there.
Yeah. But I think as well, this is this is just my opinion. I think this is one thing that they missed out in the new movies, the sequel trilogy. This is really the first time I think you see serious conflict in Vader. This is the first time you go, I can see it. It's there. And we're in the third movie now. I think Kylo Ren could have been just as iconic, but from the very first film, they show conflict within him. So straight away, I think you lose that. He loses that cynicism. You think, he's already conflicted. Already you can. Whereas this is the first real time we see. We've had 3 movies now, and like Martin's just said, we're 3/4 of an hour away from the end of Jedi, and all of a sudden there's conflict in him. But they leave it right until the end, like Connor's just said. You wouldn't have suspected it. But I think that's a mistake they made with The Force Awakens, that immediately you see sort of conflict in Kylo Ren. I just think it's far too early. you know. But
one of the mistakes, one of the many mistakes.
Anybody else?
Let's not forget about Mark Hamill's great acting as well.
Oh, absolutely.
He's never been as good as he was in Jedi.
No,
This scene just
that's true.
shows. He had to act against, the guy in the suit, the voiceover afterwards. It all sort of worked, didn't it?
The thing is, he got it though, because it's like I said before. You look at Mark Hamill or Luke Skywalker in this film, and he's nothing like the farm boy Luke from the first one. The progression, and I think that's what annoyed us going forward, is because in this film you grew with all these characters. Connor made it before. Now that we're older, you can see both sides of this scene, both of them, as a father and as a young, regardless. I mean, it just means so much. Does anybody else have anything to say about this scene before we move on?
Just
Okay,
Mark Hamill's good at when he's not fisting people.
You've probably got more pictures, so I'll just shut up.
We got to see an ad again, and it was cool seeing an ad again.
Andy says, which out of these three vehicles, shuttle, speeder bike, or B-wing? Shuttle, 100%.
Oh, the shuttle's so cool. But I also loved that B-wing.
I'm going speeder bike,
I gotta tell you, real quick to interject, that seeing those B-wings in the last episode yesterday, oh my god, I was in heaven.
I've seen clips of it. I've not seen it yet. Yeah.
Next, we have
this. I love this. Wow. I wanted this playset to put my Royal Guards in. I was like, dude, that's so cool. I loved the Royal Guards just from seeing this. I thought it was great.
It was just ridiculous, isn't it? This whole throne room scene was just amazing. I mean, look at that. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I mean, and it's funny, I went to see the 40th anniversary last year, and these scenes look so much different on the cinema. I mean, I remember seeing it as a kid, but obviously in older eyes, I was just like, wow, there's so much more. And, when you see it this is why it's meant to be the big screen in its Star Wars, because you could see everything. The chair, it's just so cool. And there he is. So what do we think about this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, like I said, I just loved all of his lines. I thought it was everything he said was so cool.
Yeah.
And he was so arrogant. He was so arrogant and sure of himself. Right down to the end, he was just so... There was no faulting with this character. He was absolutely sure, right up to the moment of his death, that he was... Like, it was all set. He was like, I don't have to worry about a damn thing. This is all planned and all set. Nothing you can do can stop this. It was just...
On your point there, John, right? The prequels did a lot for this scene.
Yeah.
Where the Emperor, from the get-go, was one step ahead of the Jedi Council, the Rebels. He was always one step ahead of everyone. And it's only really when you've seen the prequels and you reflect then, again, watching it there recently, that you see Obi-Wan was right, Yoda was right, the training they did with Luke was right. Luke was the only one that the Emperor didn't see it coming, that he wouldn't turn to the dark side.
Well, here's the thing: when you start thinking about this, I think he did see it coming. But what he did is he mistook his own visions of who Skywalker was, because he kept telling Vader, the son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi. So in his visions, he was seeing a vision that said Skywalker will destroy you. So he was looking at it like Luke is the Skywalker, or that Vader, you know what I mean? He had the wrong Skywalker, I think, in his visions, however you want to look at it, where he was worried about Luke and saying Luke must not become a Jedi and blah, blah, blah. But what it turned out to be was the Skywalker he should have been worried about all along was actually Vader, because Vader's the one that picked him up and threw him in the pit.
There's no dilemma there, Bike Scout.
Well, it's funny, because Ian McDermott wasn't even meant to play. They had somebody else, but he couldn't wear the eye things.
Yeah, the makeup, right? Yeah.
And then they went to see a West End show that Ian Dermott was in, liked him in that, and got him in for an audition. Funny that, isn't it, how things turn? And because I can't think of anybody else that could play this.
God, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I mean,
38, that's all he was. 38.
They did that.
People always do these top 10s and top 5s greatest villains of all time, and Darth Vader is always number 1 on those lists. But I'm sorry, the Emperor Palpatine Sidious is the greatest villain ever to have been created in fiction, or at least film fiction in my eyes. And I often think he's quite overlooked when it comes to that sort of thing, because he's malevolent, isn't he? He's pure evil in both the prequel and in Jedi. It's an incredible performance by the guy.
And I love that, like, sometimes it's like he doesn't even have dialogue. He just sits back and laughs at them as they're fighting. Yes, good.
Then we've got the fight. I mean, how high would you rate this fight?
It's
my favourite.
I think just how it's done as well. That how many times do we see? We don't even see them. We can just see the silhouettes. Everything's dark, and you can just see those lightsabers getting swung around, and amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
And the build up of like you know, the build up basically to this point where Luke is like just bashing him with that thing over and over and over, you know, and then finally cuts off the hand and sees Vader's severed hand with all the wires and mechanics coming out, and then he looks at his own mechanical hand and he's just like, that's that moment, you know, where he's like, oh my gosh, it's like,
I shall not become him.
I think it's always
and then everybody looks at the Emperor and just throws that lightsaber away, and it's like, you're gonna die. No, you're gonna die. And he goes, I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Which is a great line. All the way through Return of the Jedi, you don't know whether Luke's got, like we discussed before, you know, about the Force choke and the Sith choke at the start, and you know what I mean, and how he tortured Jabba, and then when it came to this, you thought, oh no, you know, and then you're right. He looked at the hand, looked at his hand, and that's it. The iconic line, I am a Jedi.
That's when the Emperor has his crack. That's when the Emperor cracks, and he's like, so be it.
There's also that amazing scene. There's the amazing scene underneath the Emperor's throne room where Luke's hiding, and Vader knows he's there, but he doesn't know where. And that dialogue, you know, if you will not turn to the dark side, she will. No, I mean, absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. And then for the first and only time in the entire of the original trilogy, that orchestral music starts playing as they're dueling. There's that side-on shot of them fighting sideways. It's just, I mean, I know Richard Marquand isn't really spoken much about, but he did an amazing job directing Jedi. Really, really great.
So the Battle of Endor we've got right here. This is an outtake picture. This would have been cool if we would have seen this with all these stories.
Deleted scene, it's a great scene.
Great scene. And then that's an iconic look as well. Sums that character up so well, doesn't it? Han Solo. I know.
I love
what you mean. Every one of us.
The space battles here is just incredible. When I first saw that the Falcon and those ships going forward, and they're like, all of a sudden there's like 1,000 TIE fighters flying. I'm like, you know.
Name a film in, was it 40 years now? Jedi's been out 42 years. That's got a space battle scene better than this.
That was my next thing. I can't think. Even now, I can't think after 40 years. It's just, it keeps you on the edge of your seat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely fantastic. Then is this the first time we're introduced to A-Wings as well as B-Wings as well?
A-Wings, B-Wings, TIE Interceptors,
Yeah, absolutely. It's just such a great scene. And then the Falcon had new pilots, didn't it? Commandos. Oh, that was pretty cool seeing him.
Why was there commandos in the?
He probably fell asleep and missed it. He was like, oh no!
I got on the wrong ship.
Not on the wrong ship.
And then we've got obviously Sebastian Shaw right there.
Yeah.
Luke, you already have.
Let me see you with my own.
Should have been left as the Force Ghost, though, shouldn't he?
Yeah, they should.
Out there. Yeah. You can't. You've got to leave as the Force Ghost.
I disagree.
Yeah. Oh no.
You do?
Who disagrees?
I disagree.
So if you're going to change him to Anakin, then have you not got to change Alec Guinness to Ewan McGregor?
No, I don't think so. No, I think the reason George Lucas in the commentary said he did it was because that was the last time Anakin looked like. Last time he was a Jedi Knight was that when he looked like that. So when he became one with the Force, that's how he became.
I hate it.
I'm
Absolutely hate it.
I'm 100% with Luke. I never really liked the addition of.
I also prefer the end music now that have rather than the yub nub music. I can't.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, I disagree there.
No,
The Yub music, yeah.
I don't mind it, but I wish they kept a little bit of the yub nub in there as well for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have.
And the same with the Lapti-Nek music from Jabba's Palace. I hate that they took.
Oh, I don't.
The new version.
I don't really like the new music in Jabba's Palace. Well, I don't like the CGI character that's thrown in the mix of it all, and he goes right to the front of the screen.
With the open mouth. Yeah.
Why does he have to do that?
Now, again, I read when George Lucas was going to make the sequel trilogy, he put Hayden Christensen in as the Force Ghost Anakin because he intended to use him again in his version of the sequel trilogy. So it was going to be easier for him to be able to bring him back as Anakin because you would have seen him like that at the end of Return of the Jedi. Obviously, things don't work out, but that would have been, I thought that was a good enough reason as well to put him in as Anakin at the end. Okay, I'm alone on this one.
I'll never be sold on it. Yeah.
See, I would really wonder where that would fit in because reading some of those scripts that they put out afterwards where it was all going into like the microbial world and the metachlorians and all that and showing how the Force is created on a microscopic level in a microscopic world, I thought was just strange and weird, man. I was like, I'm not so sure I would have wanted to see that on screen,
So people are bringing this up in the which one would you? So I thought I'd put the proper picture in. Do you know what I mean? That's
the proper picture.
It's not canon anymore, so it can't be the right picture.
No, I know. It's funny that, isn't it?
I think what I took the sort of disdain to the change was, we see the character getting the helmet removed. He's all beat up, or he's pale, and there's a kindness in this guy's eyes when he's looking on to Luke, and you sort of see then the redemption of Vader. And I think just by changing it to Hayden Christian, it just loses for me. I know there's a personal opinion, but it just loses a little bit of that scene for me. It just takes it away from it.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then
as a compromise, they could have done like a kind of a fade from Sebastian Shaw into Hayden. People might have found that a bit more acceptable, maybe, if they'd done that, sort of showed him like de-aged to when he was Jedi.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Says, I love the meme of Yoda, Anakin, and Ben at the end, and Ben saying, "Shall we tell them the Emperor isn't dead?" And Yoda says, "No." So, our good old Steel Overvader says, "Burning Vader upset me. Such a waste of a costume. I would have nicked it." I love the. Oh yeah, perfect. Well, there's some other things I want to show you as well. Basically, where is it? There it is, right there. Is this? I mean, it wasn't just the movies, was it, Si? That when we did Star Wars, it was also the figures, and I mean.
What a cute kid.
We still got that tracksuit, Martin.
Oh, absolutely. Si, man, you make gold. You really do make gold.
I requested that one.
I can remember those bins. Like it had a rack. There were racks where they were hanging, but those bins, and it's kind of like the only toys that are in those bins nowadays are like Hot Wheels, where you go to the store and there might be a bin of Hot Wheels that people are digging through. And it's like, why isn't it that way with other toys today? Like, why can't the store have that many Star Wars figures today? Like, I don't get it.
At a glance as well, that tracksuit looks like an X-Wing flight suit.
Yeah, it does.
But it was all about the toys as well for us, wasn't it? And I think it's very important. It's funny now, you look at it now and you think, the toys are either dying off for the TV shows, but we were in a golden generation where it both worked. I mean, there's even toys like this one.
Yep.
Do you see what I mean?
What's strange about that one is it's not mint on card.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's a factory error. That's what you call it.
I just love the way Si's actually doing the arms as well.
Oh, I thought he was getting ready to shake somebody.
Is it all? Yeah.
Andy, 5 POS.
Yeah.
Where was this, Simon? What was this here?
That was it. It was just a big cutout at Star Wars Celebration. And you could just stand next to it, get your picture took. So I did.
That's cool.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Let's have a look what else we've got here. Also, Mr. Whitehouse sent me this. Look at it.
Oh
Yeah, nice.
That screams Christmas.
Still a great
morning.
toy, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the way it sits on it.
Oh, I know.
And just hours of fun under the dining room table.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant picture. Brilliant.
It always takes me about 10 minutes to get it to balance like that, though. Every time I set mine up, it like falls to one side or the other, and I'm always
you've always got one leg stronger than the other, isn't there?
And this is Bomb's size collection right here. This is his speeder bike vehicle. Even the box eye in it. It's the box and everything.
Yeah. Does everybody have one? Like
No, I don't have one.
The first box Return of the Jedi thing I ever had to get was a speeder bike, because this artwork for this box, for some reason, it just brings back so much for me. That it was the first boxed Return of the Jedi thing I had to have, because I just love this box so much. And I don't know if it's because that's one of the ones we got as a kid for Christmas, or if it's just like that shot there of the Ewok in the biker scout is just so ingrained into my brain. You know, I just love it so much. You made a point of this, Scott. This is your figure here. And you said something. You love the fact that he holds it the same way as he does it.
Yeah. One of the few
One
of the few figures that holds the weapon well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know this is one of our size top. You've got this carded, haven't you, Simon? You've got this one.
Yeah. I love Weak Waves. I loved it because as a kid I was mad on martial arts, and he had like a martial arts pose with the staff, so I was like making martial art moves.
Yeah.
Would you say this was one of the most iconic pictures of Vader?
Yeah, this is a cool trading card.
Yeah.
I loved these trading cards too, by the way. Like I remember collecting them all. Return of the Jedi trading cards were the one set that I just absolutely remember collecting. Like all of them. Every time we went down, I'd get a pack, and I'd have to like sort them out. And I remember reading the back of all those cards. And
yeah, so nice.
I would say this, to me, is the greatest action figure ever made. Made.
Yeah.
Absolutely love the Jedi. I know a lot of people say the best been Luke, and I mean, listen, I know a lot of people say, what's your worst Star Wars figure? To me, there wasn't a worst one. I loved them all.
No,
but
I love them all.
They're just stood out to me. It really did.
I think I've got a happy compromise, to be honest. With what you just said.
We'll save that for the Empire Strikes Back one, Luke. We'll say the same thing for that one.
Now, what do you have in your collection, Chevy? With this being your favorite character, is this the one that you have on card?
Well,
and
these are all mine. Now I'm redoing my room now, and I haven't got any on card, but I've kept. Simon had found my old Return of the Jedi Luke card. It's got the pill taken out. It's all crossed on the back. And Luke once said this once. He doesn't mind the cards looking like, because it gives it more of a story, more of a character. So
I like it when there's like writing on them and stuff, like people have circled the back of them. I like that.
So I'm going through all mine right now, and so all my collection's still at size, but I've got most of it. But
so why not, if you're gonna get, like, if you don't have any carded Star Wars, why not just get one and have it be that Luke Jedi?
I looked for one at Joe Fest, and he waited $250 for it, but the card was the bubble was so yellow you couldn't see the figure.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Bubble. I know, yeah.
And so I wanted a clear one, but I don't know really. I have that figure and I have it complete, and I've got a really nice minty one. Granted, it's not on card, but to me that didn't really, as long as I had it, and I think we all have it. We all have a certain, whether it's big or small, a certain collection in our toy rooms of vintage Star Wars, don't we? I mean, we all love these stuff,
Yeah.
And when they're your own, when they're the one that you played with and grew up with, and what will ever replace that? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, Dave.
Is that the one you bought, DTM?
Yeah, I got that one a few years back. Yeah, I think it was the first Echo I went to.
Yeah, I think was that one with you, Dave?
Yeah, I think you were there, Luke. Yeah.
Si, what's this?
That's Star Wars Celebration. That was a full size then. There's quite a few of them there.
But was that
Yeah.
intimidating to have a look at, Si? Were you like, because I know you
Yeah, well,
absolutely love this movie. Were you like, whoa, look at
Yeah,
that?
it is when you see it full size. You think, wow, it is a bit like. But I'm looking forward to the future when they get animatronics in them and start walking about.
Scott Whitehouse again.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. For me, the Return of the Jedi comics. I started.
Nice.
I've got the first one here, and it came out on June the 22nd, 1983. So that was just about 3 weeks after the film had come out, and I've got a couple of hundred of these. So
Right. Well, what I'll do is I'll go through these and I'll make you big, Scott, and I'll definitely have a look at that. Definitely, mate. That'd be awesome. Whose is that? Was that yours, DTM?
Yeah. Return of Jedi. Yeah.
Sorry, Sean. I didn't know we were meant to be sending pictures.
It's all right,
I've got everything next to me.
No one said good because we're going to do that next. No, these just pictures are took from the group.
I didn't know if I was meant to send anything.
So,
Just go back to that Return of the Jedi video case a minute.
Yes, sir.
What a massive spoiler is that on the cover?
I don't remember seeing that cover, to be honest.
Vader's not on there, is it? I just realised.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's all the good guys.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So what we'll do is to finish.
Are you going to ask like their first toy, or are we going to go through that, or?
No, I mean basically what we're going to do is I'm just going to go through you all, and if you have anything to show, we'll show it before we finish up. But Si, have you got anything to show, or do you want to say what your favourite toys was or whatever?
No, just like everybody else. I always thought, Star Wars figures was the best figure line as a kid. Return of the Jedi line was probably my favourite of them all. And them three figures, Lando, Skiff, Biker Scout, and Weequay, I'll cherish forever. They were just brilliant figures.
Si, why this certain movie though, mate? Because a lot of people will turn around and say Empire, but what is it about Return of the Jedi? Is it purely nostalgia, Si, or is it you just...
I just loved it as a kid. I just fell in love with it, and I've always loved it. I watch Return of the Jedi. If it's on now for 5 minutes, I've got to sit and watch the whole lot. It's just one of them films that I watch regularly. Out of all the Star Wars movies, it's on in this house as much as Raiders is, as much as Enter the Dragon is. It's always on.
Yeah.
I love the sound of it. I love the background. And when I was a kid, I had a nasty accident. And a wall fell on me outside a church, and I was in hospital for a long time.
Yeah,
because I was in a children's ward and I was in Preston because my injury had to be treated like a burn. So I had to go to a burns unit, which made it even worse because I'm 10 years of age and I'm in hospital with all these kids with really bad burns. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember.
It was horrific. But luckily, my dad was a musician and I had a ghetto blaster. I had a red Sony ghetto blaster next to me. My dad had takes off the whole of the VHS Return of the Jedi and put it on 4 cassettes.
Nice.
And to help me get to sleep at night, I used to put my headphones into my ghetto and just listen to Return of the Jedi. And I did this night after night for nearly a year. Do you know what I mean? So every noise, every sound effect, everything about Return of the Jedi just rings a bell, So and it got me through a terrible time when I was a kid. I'll tell you the truth.
You did, mate. You did. Yeah. I was dead jealous of because even though he was in pain, the amount of toys he got, I was gutted. He got he got loads of candy, loads of toys. Remember the Mega? You still got that box Megatron, haven't you, Cypher, when you were in hospital, mate? And
greatest toy ever made.
It's a story that comes out of that, though. I mean, I know obviously that's a sad story, but it's a great story that comes out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor, what about you, pal?
When I think back to the toys, like I said, I was the eldest grandchild, so I got a little bit spoiled by the grandmother. But I was only saying this to Si and Dave the other night and Des, I was lucky because for whatever reason, my brother just wasn't into action figures. He was always into cars and that kind of thing. And I ended up with 2 of all the Jabba Goons. I always had 2 Stormtroopers, I had 2 Biker Scouts. So, I always remember having, I always had a bundle of figures to play with, and probably that's where my modern army building where it comes from. But, each and every single one of those figures, you knew it inside out, back and front, you knew every detail at every paint up on it, every sort of minuscule detail on it. They were just such an important part of our lives. They're the first thing you grabbed when you had your cereal in the morning, and often you'd fall asleep with a couple of them on your mattress or
Yeah,
on your because you're messing with them.
Yeah.
Still do now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'm glad we can be honest about this.
What about you, DTM?
Yeah, I mean, with the figures, it was just like they were always there in toy shops. They were always fresh in your mind. All kids in play at school had the figures. Used to play time and what have you with them. And it's something I've always carried on, really.
Yeah.
In my adult life, and I think I always will, to be honest. Bit of a boring answer, but there you go.
No, not at all, mate. You're right.
I think you're right. I think, like you said, for a lot of us, I think we said earlier, Jedi was the first film we saw in the cinema, and you came out and the toys were available, and really, that's probably the root of all our modern sort of desire to keep collecting these collectibles and holding on to them, or chasing down those vintage ones we had as kids. I think that's.
Did anyone play Star Wars as like when you were a kid?
Oh,
school?
yeah.
What did you mean?
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker or Han Solo.
All the
I would
time.
always Princess Leia.
It was funny though as well because he was talking about the Imperial shuttle. I remember a couple of years, about 3 or 4 years ago, Baldry sent me one, and I was I was blown away, man. I didn't know what to say at all because it was something that, and I never had as a kid, and it was like so much. But going back to what you were saying before, Dieter, about school, do you not remember toy days at school? Because all your mates were into Star Wars as well. So the battles you had for Star Wars at toy days.
When you could bring your toys in, that was something else.
Yeah.
Everybody had Star Wars.
I couldn't agree more. John, what about you? Have you got something to show, John?
I do actually, because I got a story here. So when we got our first Empire, it was that Revenge of the Jedi card back for Empire Strikes Back with the offer for Admiral Akbar on the back. And then they had like one after that where they started showing the yellow.
Yeah.
And I remember the first card back where they showed the yellow figures, and mom got a figure for us, and she was like, Return of the Jedi's coming out, the new Star Wars movie, all the new toys are coming. She came to my brother and I, and she said, which one do you guys want? And I was looking around, and I went, I want that guy. This green, pig-looking, awful thing. Like, what is that? And you look at the number, and you go down to the thing, and you're like, it's called a gumbo guard. Get the gumbo guard. And Mom's like, all right, I'll go look for it. And then my brother's like, I want the squid guy. Let's get the squid guy. And
how iconic is that card back, though? I mean, all the figures on
nice.
And now I've got a Gamorrean guard, but he must be back. My guys are stacked like 4 or 5 in a row, and he must be back on a further row. But I was able to pull down the squid head. But Mom went like a few days later. Mom shows up with the Gamorrean guard for me and squid head for my brother, and I have these carded figures just because this is part of my childhood. It was the first Return of the Jedi figures that my brother and I got, the Gamorrean guard and the squid head. And I just so vividly remember my mom like going through the back with us and saying, now you can each pick one and I'll go hunt them down, and my mom was so into the hunts back then, like so much so that as an adult, I remember when R5D4 came out, Black Series, on that card, you could only get it at GameStop or something. And my mom was like, is there anything you're looking for? And I was like, I'm looking for this R5D. She went on the hunt and found one for me. She said, I went to like 10 different GameStop or whatever it was. It was GameStop, right? Or Walgreens. I don't remember. But she's like, I went to like 10 different stores and I finally found one for you. And I was like, oh, wow, thank you. And she said,
mums a lot.
She said the hunt for that figure brought her back to the moment where she hunted for those Return of the Jedi figures for us as kids. She was like, I felt like your mom 30, 40 years ago,
Yeah, but they were sold everywhere, though, weren't they? Even off license, your corner shops had Star Wars.
Corner shops.
Everywhere. It's funny because
the drugstore, like even like like auto shops had some little rack with Star Wars figures on them.
Well, because even on the front of mine, the price tag is still Tesco.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tesco. Des, what about you, my friend? Have you got anything to show?
Not to show because it's all I'm downstairs. So You can see all this if
No, let's not.
Beautiful.
My dad used to give me and my brother a £5, and we could walk into town. And like you say, there was that many shops that you could go, and we were allowed to buy 2 figures, one each, because my collection is our collection officially, and so we could buy, so let's say 2 figures. And I can remember going into the big toy shop, and there was a big, massive box full of the figures, and we're pulling out Gamorrean guard, like John says, and it's like, you went, who's he? What did they do? Bib Fortuna, Akbar. And just mind blown. Bib Fortuna, fantastic figures, and I've still got them now. That's the pride of my collection.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all beaters. I mean, they're all real beaters. I've got no weapons at all.
Most of mine are like that.
But I love them like that.
It's
like,
all
you know, I know me and Luke have talked about this before. We do, don't we, Luke? It gives it character and they look because they are toys for kids. Let's be honest, that's what they are.
I understand people want vehicles.
My brother-in-law's bought me some Stan Solo figures just to I've got Lando General, Luke Stormtrooper, and they're mint, but they don't fit the collection.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Just going to say
I'm great to have them, but they're just too good to go with my figure.
Right,
yeah, I get it.
Look at the smirk on Martin's face. Look at it, all that crazy. Oh, brilliant. Luke, do you have anything to show, my friend?
Yeah, well, I've got a few bits. I'll fly through them because obviously I know we're on the clock. But like Dave, I've got my Return of the Jedi
VHS.
So this is the only thing from childhood that I've got. This is the only thing that survived. I've got the other two, but my videos are the only things that survived from childhood. But I have also got the wonderful guy that is Gary Moore gifted me these a couple of years ago. So I've also got this one.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Which,
after that one.
The front cover is just so good. I love that. And then the one that for me is at the image I see when I think about Return of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
So love those. I mean, I love a VHS tape anyway, but love those. And then I picked out a few of my personal favourite vintage figures from Jedi. So obviously we all know how Si loves a biker scout.
Yeah.
So we got that. One of my favourites that sometimes takes people by surprise, but I just think it's a fantastic figure, is Leia Booth.
Yeah, it is a good figure. Yeah.
And the fact that you can sort of holster the rifle under her shoulder is.
I only found out about that from you, Luke.
Yeah, did
and
you really?
And you can clip the helmet onto the backpack.
Yeah, yes, you can. Yeah, that's right. But Shabby, you'll like this one. This is one of my absolute favourites for one reason. So obviously, I've got.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look close, where the cape is fastened,
it is. Yeah.
So the snap cape, which I'm really pleased to have. Love that guy. So I've got two of these because you got to get 2 different versions, right?
Yeah. There was 2 different versions, is it?
Yeah, there is one with the tab.
Yeah.
Oh, right, with the tongue on it. Right, got it.
Some of my now I'm partial to a card back. I don't know if anyone else likes a card back. Do they buy card backs?
Oh yeah.
So got that one. So Shabby, obviously you'll like that one.
This one.
Got Tri-Logo Biker Scout.
My biker's on a Tri-Logo too.
Yeah, we got Snow Trooper. Tri-Logo Snow Trooper.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Tri-Logo Stormtrooper.
You want to be careful showing these because Andy's in the. He might be phoning you after this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A couple of my favourites. Obviously, love the alternative, and then that's vintage collection.
Nice.
That one.
Yeah, but still, it's really cool. You know, I love that.
Very grateful to get this off our Matt from Zero Hunter Toys a few years back, who's very generous and gifted me this. Oh, can you if you can get it?
Oh yeah.
That was my very first carded Star Wars figure. Sorry if you're getting the glare on it, but Shabby, I'm sorry, I'm crossing genres, but it is a Jedi card, so I think I can get away with it. Which is one of my grill pieces, which was
oh wow,
on a Jedi card, right?
Yeah.
So that was gifted to me by Derby Collector. Who else?
Who?
My birthday last
You've
year.
never brought him up before, Luke.
I know. He don't get mentioned.
He's a great guy.
And then the last thing, I'm not.
Oh,
I don't. One more. I don't have much Lego these days, but the one thing I won't part with is this.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot they did that as a Lego. Yeah.
Is it Lego Buildables? Is that what they're called? Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
I think I've just fired the rocket. I don't know where that's gone. Yeah,
You know,
I just had the rocket fire. Oh no,
He's lost
don't know
the
where that is.
rocket now.
Yeah, that's gone. Yeah, I'm done. Sorry guys, that's me. I'm done.
No, don't apologise.
No, it's cool.
Beautiful
Good
pieces.
stuff.
Yeah, MLT says the moment you find out a relative was going on holiday to the States and blagging him to go to Toys R Us
Yeah.
with his Star Wars figures.
That still
Absolutely.
happens now.
Yeah. And Scott, so what have you got, Scotty boy?
I've got the only card back that I've still got.
Proof it.
Oh,
Right.
Not with a
That's
build on,
where he
yeah.
went.
Yeah, that is an original. The book from childhood, and there he is. So
Nice.
Nice.
that's pretty cool to have. And there's a couple of others. There's one for Martin,
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
of course, and one for VTR.
He loves
Oh,
Medine.
look at
He
that.
loves me.
But
He
he's
loves
using that action,
Medine.
his trousers
Yeah.
are looking pretty
He's
good.
been in a battle.
It's his
He's-
favourite.
DIY.
It's his
Yeah,
favourite. I
that's
think we should all start sending Dave some Medines.
Yeah.
The size as well.
Brilliant
That's
figure.
That's a
one of my
great figure. That.
favourites.
Yeah, it's a nice figure that.
Anyone else
Brilliant
just love
figures.
figures as soon as they had removable helmets?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great. Yeah, yeah.
I always thought this was a brilliant
Oh,
figure. I thought
yeah.
it was a really
it's
good
great-
It is a good one.
It is
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
It was a really good one. And so he's
I like the way
Has any-
Boy's got thousands of them, hasn't he? Do you remember? And he
Has
was
any,
telling us.
yeah, he has. Has
Yeah.
anyone got the one with the maroon cape? Out of curiosity.
Andy
No, I
has.
don't. It's one of the ones I need to get. Yeah.
Oh, what
and
was
then,
those
then
about the
just
comics? Yeah.
some of the comics, and I just think these, for me, kept it alive because these photographs
Yeah.
on the front of them each week
Yeah, they're
are
great.
Oh, look at
sort
that.
of keeping it alive. I mean, look at this one's fantastic.
Oh,
And
wow.
I would just I would just sort of like look
Yeah.
at the photo of the stiff like that, and just
Oh, colour comic.
keep the story alive because we weren't getting to
Yeah.
watch it. I didn't go to the cinema too many times and see it, but this really sort of kept
Yeah.
kept the story
Oh,
alive,
yeah.
and these
What you had to do
moments
back then,
stay,
innit?
stay in your memory, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, print was so important to us back
Wow.
then.
Nice.
You can just pour over the pictures for hours, can't you? You can
Yeah.
have it-
Yeah.
look at
Oh,
that.
that's beautiful. Yeah.
Do you not think it's funny as well, everyone, that you see these Star Wars pictures and they're timeless, but as you go through these magazines, everything else looks really dated. Do you know what I mean? Like the advertisements and everything,
Big fortune.
Funny, innit?
Such a good character.
I love it when I get an American comic that's not
that's
Star Wars. Like, say you're flipping through like an old Avengers or Spider-Man
That's a good
comic,
one.
and you get to that centerfold that has the Star Wars figures on it, the adverts.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant, Scott.
They're
so
in
that's
good
about
condition
it,
as well,
yeah.
Scott.
Sorry, Luke.
He's a librarian. They're going to be in good condition,
Yeah,
aren't they?
they look like they're in good nick.
They've been in a box in various roofs over the years, but I've got them down. I've been slowly going through them. Really, really pleased
Yeah,
with
I've
them.
got that. I've
Craig
got that
asked-
thing
Oh, you are? I was going to say, did anyone else have the Escape
from
from
when I was a
Sarlacc
kid.
board game?
Yeah.
The box art is
I
amazing.
did.
No, never saw that one.
Cloud Call Pilots get no love. Great figure, says G-Force. Hey, Craig. Here we go. Bush was such a great figure. Her Skiff Lando and the Endor figures with removable helmets were insane toys back in the 80s. Was Return of the Jedi the first time you got removable helmets in the
I
figures?
think it was.
It was,
wasn't
yeah.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
Wow. Okay, Martin.
Well, I don't have any of my old toys from when I was a kid, unfortunately. My mum saw to that. They all went.
Same,
But
Martin,
I
don't
went
worry.
through I did a bit of a tub thumpers earlier, and I found my old
Oh,
Return of
yes.
the Jedi puzzle. I've got the Vader one with that classic picture of him looking at the camera, but I just can't find it. I know you've featured annuals on your show before, Shabby, but I found my 3 kid annuals from Return of the Jedi.
Wow.
Yeah, these are from my childhood, these 3, so I'm really
that
chuffed to still have
Emperor
these.
one, that is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that one.
I've drawn all in it. It's got,
Oh yeah, we used to
it's-
draw
That's
on
part
them.
of the charm, Martin. It's part of the charm. They've had a life.
I didn't know that VTR liked General Madine because I picked him off
Yeah,
the
big
shelf.
fan.
Yeah, Dave will love it. Dave will love that.
Oh, excellent! And this figure here, this figure, I picked this one up about 14 years ago, and
That
this
bubble
is
looks great
probably
as well.
responsible for me starting collecting again, because I had a little period where I didn't collect for a while, and I saw this, and it was back in the time when you could pick these up for fairly cheap,
Don't say
not
it.
like
Yeah.
now. And as soon as I saw this, I was just transported back to being a kid again, and I blame this for everything that you see behind me. This figure, I just love this. This will be my, if I ever have to get rid of my collection for any particular reason, I'll still keep this forever because it means so much to me. And again, that iconic back of the card,
So iconic. Yeah,
it's just
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, that's all I've got to show, Shabby.
Yeah, see, it's funny, Martin. Everything you see behind me, I blame Rachel. She started it.
Terrible influence, Luke. She's a terrible influence.
She started it.
It was actually my mother-in-law who bought me this.
Was
so
it?
I'm going to blame my mother-in-law.
I wish I had a large Star Wars collection of figures and other stuff. That's the thing. There's always something though in there. I mean, it was so mass produced. Everyone's got a little bit of something, haven't they? So, did anyone in the UK get the top Star Wars cards? I don't remember ever seeing them. Only had the Return of the Jedi. I love that Panini album, and Si still got it. I remember how it started with Tub Thumpers. Si pulled it out. Remember, Si? And I was blown away. Si, I'd not seen that since we were kids. And
well,
then
it was
that Martin's.
It was the reverse. It was the reverse over here. The Topps cards were everywhere, but Panini was hard to find back then.
I mean, the Myths are doing it at the moment. It's I love it. This again, I never completed it as a kid, so
that's the one from you as a kid.
Yeah, I like completing.
No, it's one I've bought now, but
okay.
I've got a load of these packets of stickers as well that I'm going through to actually start from scratch, as if I was doing it from back in '83.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's an awesome little project, Martin. That's gorgeous.
It's an expensive project.
Well, I cheated a bit with the Topps cards, and I got a book with them all in.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's
Never seen that.
gorgeous.
That's brilliant.
There's one of Lando there.
On the stickers and everything.
It came with a pack of cards as well. So.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's awesome, to tell you the truth. Yeah. The level in Dark Forces where you have to save May Dean from the Imperial Prison is awesome. Got the Return of the Jedi album. Still got my Panini sticker album complete, but missing the cover. Gutted. Or even there, gutted short. I still need about 10 stickers to complete that Return of the Jedi. Can you still get them? Can you still, I mean, can you still get them?
You can go online and get them, but they're expensive. Yeah,
you can buy them on eBay. So people have piles of them, like all of the numbers. So you just select the number you want, and I think they're like a 50p to £1 each for each sticker, which is expensive.
Until you want a shiny, Shabby. Until you want a foily, and then they're about 10 quid each.
Yeah, I love foilies. Do you remember the football ones? Get the football. You remember them?
I need a few of them to finish my mask centre pull-out picture from the comic, and mate, try to finish that on a budget is,
They kind of feel expensive because I know when you were a kid, you were like you could get them for 25 or 50 cents or something, and now they're like $5 a pack. But if you think about it, when you go to the store today and buy a brand new pack of Pokemon or something, they're $5 or $6 a pack. So really, because like I've done it with Return of the Jedi Topps cards, where I go online sometimes and buy myself a pack for $5 or $6, and I always think like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm spending this on it. But then I'm like, but wait a minute, it's the same. I'm buying these vintage cards for the same price as I would buy a brand new pack of Magic cards or Pokemon cards. So really, it's not expensive if you think about it that way.
I'm the same, John. I buy a lot of cards.
Yeah, I'll never buy one sticker for 15 quid.
Well, we've come to we're 2 hours. Simon, I'm so glad you said do this, man. I have thoroughly enjoyed listening to people's stories.
Now I want to do it for all the other movies.
Yeah, me too. Did you say
I'll do it for 2 more?
Did you say you want to do Empire Strikes Back next side? Do you want to do Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, if you want to do it, we can do another one. That's no problem whatsoever.
Even the prequels, I would do it for Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace.
I think we should keep this going because I've really enjoyed listening to everybody's stories.
Just the six films.
I might be interested in Empire.
Well, I will definitely stop an Empire one, definitely. Before we go, though, I just want to get round everyone's final thoughts about this movie and what it means. So, Si, if I start with you, you tell us about this movie, mate. What it means to you.
I don't think we need to do we? We just spoke 2.5 hours about it. It's the greatest Star Wars film that's ever been made. That's it. In my opinion, there's no other Star Wars film better. The sequels are a complete letdown because of it. Nothing will ever be proved after Return of the Jedi. It's the last of them, the last of the greats.
Yeah.
It's not
What
a
I said.
blanket for me.
Yeah,
So there you are, Shabby. That's it.
that
There you
sums it
go.
up. Yeah, that does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
so
for
I
that,
said it
Simon.
all.
Yeah, brilliant. Connor, what about you?
Martin said something in the chat there, and I've been pondering over all week, and it threw in a few talking points or thinking points for us to mull over. And I did, Martin, actually, and one of the ones you put in was it was the perfect ending to the trilogy. It just wrapped everything up, and I was thinking about that. It really was. It was nearly to a fault that it was so perfect that it was going to always be hard for something to come after it. And then I was thinking, it's called Star Wars. I was thinking back to, growing up watching World War II movies and that kind of thing. You had, the Rebel Assault, the Empire Strikes Back was, the bad guys, big war scene, and then all out war, the space battle. And it was the perfect ending. And it just, when you look at it or you go back and relook at it, it just makes the sequels look so bad,
Yeah.
And it makes, it justified for watching it again this week why I don't like them or why they don't have the same impact as those original trilogy films did.
I agree. What's your final thought, Des?
I think for me, Jedi, it's just a big comfort blanket. Like I was saying earlier, you can put it any time. You can just get in and you can just immerse yourself. And I say I was 10 when it came out with the toys, everything about it was just love it.
John?
Yeah, I mean this was the end of like some of us said before, even when you put the prequels in, it's like these 6 films, Return of the Jedi still is the end cap that sums it all up. And the ending of this film just has so much meaning for me anyway in the story of Star Wars. Even when you put all 6 films together, from the prequels up to this, it's like this has that perfect ending for all 6 of the stories to culminate in this moment where the good guys have prevailed. Luke has saved it, and the galaxy can go back. The Force is in balance again. It's like everything was tied up and done in this one film, and it's perfect. I mean, I just love it so much, and I loved it when I was a kid, but before we had the prequels, and then when you add the prequels in, it just has that much more meaning to it,
I agree. Yeah. I agree with that, yeah. DTM, anything to add?
It's just a great film. I've always enjoyed watching it, and if it had not done any more, I'd have been fine with how it ended. That's it.
Yeah.
Return of Jedi.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Ending. Yeah.
That too. Yeah.
Luke?
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's sort of covered most things, but what I love about Jedi, it's the end and the start for me. It's the end of the trilogy, even though I'd not watched all 3 films at that point, but it's the end of the movies as far as I'm concerned. But it was the start of my love of Star Wars, because it was the first movie I saw when I think I'd have been 7, and it instantly transports me back when I see Jedi to being laid on my front on my cousin's floor, elbows sort of underneath myself, looking up at the TV, probably a pile of sweets in front of me or crisps, snacks, whatever we're eating. And it just signifies that start of the journey. When I look around now, I look at the toys I've got, I look at whatever Star Wars means to me. That was the start. That film started it. And whilst obviously I love Empire, I love Star Wars, Jedi was the film that started it off for me. So I do have an affection for Jedi that I don't have for the other, even Empire, because Jedi is what started it. So I just love it. It's a great film.
What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I think I kind of love it unconditionally. I was 8, coming up to 9 when it came out, and I think I was at kind of the perfect age, and I've grown up watching it. A year hasn't passed when I haven't watched it. And
that's a good point.
I'll tell you, a week hasn't passed. A week since they came out on VHS. Since they came out on VHS, I have watched one of the Star Wars movies just about every single day of my life. And
I've had spells of doing that, definitely.
To this day, whenever I'm working on a video in the morning that I'm going to post for the day, one of the Star Wars movies or one of the...
Same as Sign. The amount of times I FaceTime our Sign he's drawing and Return of the Jedi's on.
It's
Do you know
on
what
in the
I mean?
background.
Always
Yeah.
has it on in the
Yeah.
background as a that is
So
good point.
It's still brilliantly exciting and enjoyable now.
It really
I've watched it twice, 2.5 times in the last week. And I've
Yeah.
absolutely loved every minute of it, and I've seen new things again or rediscovered things again. And so it's really hard because it is unconditional. The way I feel about it.
We
know.
took
100%
my oldest son. We took his girlfriend. She was 18 to see Return of the Jedi, and she loved it. She loved it, and it was packed when we went, and that gave me so much joy. That knowing a 40-year-old movie can still hit young
still
people
over.
as well.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. Martin, you're the last one, my friend.
Okay, well, I agree with what everyone said, every single point, but I'll just say I think Return of the Jedi for me is like a fine wine. It's aged so well, and when you watch, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Star Wars, it can be any franchise, any movie. You return to Return of the Jedi, and then you sit there and you watch it, and you think that's how movies should have been made. That's how movies should be made now, with the story, the characters. Everything about it, the adventure, the pure joy of watching the film. I think people today could learn a lot if they went back, watched Return of the Jedi, and show you how it's done. That's all I can really say. I love the film so much.
Agreed. Yeah.
Great way
Absolutely.
to end it. Well, perfect. Right. Well, like I said, I want to thank everyone. Thank you all for coming as well.
Pleasure.
And thanks,
Cheers.
Nigel,
Thank
setting
you
us
for
up,
having
man. I've really enjoyed it. Craig Moore says it's nearly as good as well.
Nearly.
Almost.
Ignore him. Ignore
Absolutely
him.
brilliant. All right, so I think we will set up another an Empire Strikes Back one next, and we'll go through that. But apart from that, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks, lads, for coming on, and everyone wave goodbye. See you later.
Thanks for
Yeah, well,
inviting me.
see you,
Hey, all.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
having us
Bye-bye.
on.
Cheers.